What can I say? I got a positive COVID test for antibodies. And God, I had to talk to Dr. Drew about this. I had it before, and then I recovered, even though I never had any symptoms and never felt slightly sick. Let's talk to Dr. Drew immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Drew.
Hey guys, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
What's up, Drew?
Good to see you guys.
You're our first guest that we've had on twice so far.
I am privileged to be that guest.
Yeah, and here you know Scott Randolph. You'll also hear Paul Brisske chiming in every once in a while. He's not in your view, but he's.
I met Paul when you guys were out here, right?
The doctor's office
when we did the AIDS test.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah. How are you, Drew?
Oh my God! Thank you. Good to see you.
You
nice
too.
to see you.
We all have our...
Steve and I have a long, nefarious road together. My goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like AIDS test. It doesn't narrow it down.
He's like, which time? Yeah. We all have our Dr. Drew mugs.
Yeah. Well,
nice. Thank you for that.
Every single one of us has a different Dr. Drew mug right now.
Look at that. There's you, me, and Bob Forrest in your hand, Steve.
That's right. Okay,
That's
so
cool.
So diving right into it, I wanted to talk to you again because our first podcast we recorded before the pandemic set in.
Yeah.
And we haven't been able to discuss that at all. And since I've had multiple tests for COVID-19, and my antibodies test was positive, indicating that I've previously had COVID-19, but since recovered from it. And so what does that mean?
Let me, before I answer that, do you remember any illness or exposure?
I don't remember ever even feeling slightly sick.
Do you remember coming around somebody with COVID? Did you have any known exposure?
Not that nothing known whatsoever.
All right. So all of our testing is imperfect right now. There's lots of false negatives and false positives, but you had sort of the gold standard for the antibody. You had both the IgG and the IgM tests, and you know your IgG was positive. What's that?
And you know that because I shared my actual test results with you. I sent screenshots.
I saw the printout.
And it's mine is more reliable because it was from a blood test. Is that right?
Right. And even those have a fair number of false positives. But I generally I think we can rely on those. And it's also interesting that you had just the IgG, which means that you were exposed to it at some time in the past, not recently. And you're also there are things that they can do with those IgG immunoglobulins. They can, for instance, do viral neutralizing tests to see if those immunoglobulins that they found will neutralize other coronavirus, which I'm assuming they do as part. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm assuming they do it as part of the run-up to the giving of convalescing plasma, which I know you're doing as well, right?
Right. Yeah, I found out I forget how I found out, but I learned that people who have recovered from COVID-19 and have antibodies can donate their plasma to help very sick people.
Right.
But I also heard that that's like some 1800s shit. That
it is some 1800s shit, but it worked then and it still works now. It's not high tech. It's an old school approach. In fact, when it first came up, a lot of us were just like, oh, really? We're going to do that? But it has shown to have some use. So you're really helping people.
Well, it sounds like kind of the concept of a vaccine, where the vaccine, you take the actual disease, put it in their body, and so that they can get it and recover from it. Like, I've got the actual disease in my body, and we can give it to somebody by the same sort of philosophy.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like giving you the same thing as a vaccine, but that happened in somebody else's body.
Right.
And because we don't have yet a vaccine, or we haven't distributed a vaccine, all we have is people who've actually recovered from the infection itself, which is wonderful. I mean, I had a guy that was very, very sick, and I wanted to get him convalescent plasma. This was earlier in the pandemic. And back then, you actually had to match a person up with a donor in order to get it for them. And this gentleman, unfortunately, passed away while we were screwing around trying to get it to go. And, it's a reminder that if you're older, this is an older person, and if you have the risk factors, this thing is just brutal. It just goes fast. It just can be awful. But by the same token, there are plenty of people like Steve out there that had it and didn't even know they had it.
Right.
It can be very mild.
But what's confusing for me is that I tested negative, Paul tested negative, and his fiance tested negative, and we're all around Steve 24/7. And I'm even surprised that his fiance tested negative because, they're intimate.
We're always fucking.
We've seen the pictures. And so and we just the pictures of you guys naked. I don't know what
Right.
the rest of it. But it sort of suggests that perhaps you were exposed some time ago, which is an interesting theory by itself, right? Now, why your fiance wouldn't have it, I don't quite know. Again, there's a lot we don't know about this virus, and it always, whenever I hear stories like this, I think, could it be a false positive? Is it? I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm glad you're giving the plasma.
Right.
It will really work you up to make sure you actually have the antibody.
Right.
Right. I mean, they're not going to waste their time if it's not there. So this is good. I'm glad you're doing that. And if you have it, you will help somebody for real.
For sure. As much as I would like to help people, I'm equally motivated to just get to the bottom of what my actual status is.
Good. That's fine. Whatever motivates.
Yeah,
I'm glad
win-win.
you're doing it.
It's win-win all the way.
And if you indeed have the immunoglobulin, you are, for the intermediate term, you seem to be immune, which is an amazing thing. I'm very jealous. I signed up to be a human subject in the phase 3 vaccine trials because, first of all, I want to be a human subject. I want to do whatever I can. And secondly, I want that vaccine as soon as I can possibly get it. And the technology is just exceptional. So I'm ready to go.
Right. I hope you do get that. And
Me too.
so now, of course, I found out about the donating plasma to help very sick people. I asked you about that. You said go to redcrossblood.org, which I did. Mm-hmm. Right there on the front page, it said, have you recovered from COVID-19? And, to sign up for this convalescent plasma program, which is what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. I clicked that right away. They had a very short questionnaire. Have you your tested this and that? But then when it came to the question of when was your last symptoms, there was no option for me to answer, honestly, because I never had symptoms. So I just kind of plugged in February of this year, because that kind of reflected what your explanation was.
Yeah.
And I submitted my form like that. Then I guess it took 2 days, maybe 1 day. This morning I woke up to an email from the Red Cross saying, we need more information regarding your last symptoms. And I responded with, thank you for asking. You gave me no option to say that I was asymptomatic, but now that you're asking for more information, I've attached both my antibodies test and my follow-up nasal swab test. So hopefully they can, glean from that I'm a complete, and I described you as my doctor without naming you. I said, according to my doctor, this indicates that I'm the perfect candidate for your program. These results, which I've attached.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's true. I mean, I hope that they will take you because it's literally a lifesaver.
So
a lifesaver.
My question is, so say if Steve does have the antibodies, can he spread it if he comes into contact with somebody that does have it?
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Being bros with the world's most famous doctor rules. And you know what else rules? Coffee. You might notice I drink it every single episode the whole time. And I don't feel bad about that because I don't ever drink it without very quality ingredients as my creamer. I use Laird Superfood creamer every time, and I'm terrified of running out of it. That's why I have so much. Plus, I personally purchased every single one of these bags. I literally love it so much. Made by the legend Laird Hamilton. They got all kinds of cool flavors. Here's original. It's fantastic. They got cacao. I'm almost out of that. Turmeric. It comes with functional mushrooms if you want. Man, these are really top quality ingredients that make me feel great. And again, I don't feel bad about drinking so much coffee. So if you want to try this out, which I really recommend because it is so delicious, go to lairdsuperfood.com. Use the promo code STEVO and get 20% off your order plus free shipping. You got to do it now, right? For 20% off your order and free shipping, go to lairdsuperfood.com and use the promo code STEVO. You are going to love this stuff. Now let's get back to Drew.
No,
it means I can't catch it.
He will not get infected.
Yeah,
that's it. But it's kind of, you're actually asking a very rather sophisticated question.
Well, thank you.
Which is the difference between being infected and getting the illness, right? So you could get infected and not get the illness, or you could not get infected. And the antibody response we believe you have will mean you do not get infected. And we're trying to look for a vaccine that prevents infection for the very reason you're bringing up, because if people can get infected, they can produce virus and they can infect other people who might get the disease.
So for laymen, that means that coronavirus is the virus, but COVID-19 is the disease. And
Correct.
those are two different things.
The virus is technically called SARS coronavirus 2. And it's a relative of the MERS and the previous SARS 1, except that those two illnesses had, I think MERS was 35% fatality rate and coronavirus was like an 18 or 20% fatality rate. So they were much more dangerous.
Right. Now, you said something earlier, I had a guy, and you described this patient. For people who don't know, what you're saying is you had an actual patient, and people think of you as a celebrity, as a guy on TV. They don't understand that you have an actual practice, that you've got an office, patients come to see you, and
that's where we did your AIDS test or whatever we did.
Right.
My office.
Yeah.
And what tragic news, he said that you had this guy and he died. That's
Yeah, and he checked every box in terms of risk factors, and so I have witnessed firsthand the difference. I've also had a number of people who have had mild cases. Now I'm looking at you with asymptomatic cases. I've had older patients with some moderately severe cases, and I've seen people that check every box. And when you check all the boxes and you're older, it is crazy brutal.
But that's not to say that young people are off the hook, because what I read or learned, there are young people whose immune systems are strong enough to fight off the respiratory symptoms, but that just makes them hang in there for strokes and heart attacks like we're having.
It's not that simple. But let's remind ourselves that if you're under 40, the fatality rate is between 0.3%, like 0.03, and 0.8%. Right? It's a very small number of people that get into trouble. But when there are millions of people infected, even that small number translates into thousands, right? Mm-hmm. So the primary risk factor that I have observed, that the press really is kind of talking about in youth, is obesity. If you're obese, it can go bad.
Can you define obese? Because I've gained a little bit of weight over the last couple of years. If you look at me, am I obese?
I don't think so. I am not a huge fan of ideal body weight sort of data. I think it doesn't take into account muscularity and body types and all kinds of things. I mean, there are plenty of people that, a lot of WWE wrestlers are obese, right? But if you just do body weight, and those sorts of measurements.
He's being very gentle with you, Scott.
Yeah.
No, I've not seen somebody similar to Scott get really sick. I've not seen that.
Okay, good. Now, early on, as I followed the news around coronavirus, I've felt that looking towards Italy made the most sense because they were ahead of us in what was happening. Whatever's going on in Italy, we were a few weeks behind, and it's been months since I saw this story out of Italy where a doctor said, "I'm looking at this virus and it has become considerably weaker. When I analyze a sample of it, the viral load is much smaller. This virus has become much less deadly." And I thought, wow, I look over, I've not seen that kind of reporting on the American side, but it seems to add up with all of the cases skyrocketing, yet the death toll not skyrocketing. Are we looking at a virus that has become weaker?
I'm not sure I can answer that question with great clarity, except to say the only thing we do know that has changed for sure is that it has modified itself in such a way as to make it more infectious. But no one knows whether it actually is more infectious, if that makes sense. So the virologists are telling us that there have been some changes in the biology that are associated with more infectivity, but we don't know whether or not yet that's actually resulted in a greater degree of spread. In terms of the virus weakening, I remember that data coming out of Italy. We had high hopes for it here. It never bore fruit. It really seems to be more the result of people protecting themselves and more vulnerable people getting infected in the earlier stages of the epidemic, if that makes sense. But you bring in an interesting point. To look towards Italy as our model, I thought from the beginning, and it's pretty clear now in retrospect, huge mistake. Well, not a huge mistake, a relative mistake. We are not, and we're not Italy. We're not. Italy, the predominant patient there was over 80. They have a much higher percentage of elderly patients there. They have a very different kind of healthcare system, and they were not able to meet the needs, which was one of the dramatic aspects. I knew that we would flex, that we would improvise, that our system would meet the demands of whatever happened in the epidemic. So that was number one, why I knew we were different. And secondly, we have a different age distribution. It was affecting different people, still killing older people, but affecting more in different age groups.
Okay.
Do you think it's wise to open Orlando Disneyland?
Disney World.
Disney World?
The head of the CDC just said today, and I agree with this completely, that if we had universal mask and physical distancing, this thing would be markedly under control in 2 to 4 weeks. That whether or not you closed or opened anything, it's about wearing the mask, wearing them properly, staying 6 feet apart. The whole idea of to show me where there's evidence that a nail salon is where COVID is coming from. There's no evidence for that, and yet they've closed the nail salons. Another story today. The story, I think it was out of Florida. 2 hairstylists, active disease, got sick and exposed 139 clients to the virus. Known exposure. You know what the transmission rate was? Everybody was wearing masks in the salon. The transmission rate was 0.
Wow.
0. Masks work even with up close contact like hair cutting. So come on, everybody. We're squandering an opportunity here by not wearing masks. I understand it's a pain in the ass. I understand it's uncomfortable. I understand the government's been asking you to do all kinds of shit you don't want to do. Don't draw the line at the mask. It's a huge, huge tactical mistake.
I've got a question I'm dying to ask because I've been wearing the mask like a very good boy, but it is so annoying. Like it gets hot. Even the concern about a lot of carbon dioxide toxicity by stifling the oxygen. So I thought, and I want to know what you think about this. Is it a good solution for me to go ahead and buy a portable oxygen tank with an oxygen mask so that I've got like oxygen, like the athletes, right? So I've got this delicious oxygen, like at the oxygen bar, and then that's going to make it so my face isn't hot and I'm not getting lots of carbon dioxide. I wasn't even ready for Dr. Drew's reaction to my oxygen idea. But before you witness it, let me tell you, I'm a 46-year-old man, okay? And I've struggled with my weight in the past. But I've been eating sensibly, I've been active exercising, and I think I look pretty good for a guy in his late 40s. And you know what? I'm determined to show off the bod, and I want it to look good. And that's why I'm taking care of my grooming needs with Manscaped. That's right. I just take care of my balls with my lawnmower 3.0. Oh yeah, why not? With my new Shears 2.0, these quality stainless steel nail taking care of devices. Oh yeah, be careful with that. Nose hair, that happens when you get a little older. Ear hair, I got it all under control. It's summertime, baby, and I'm looking my best. You can look your best too by going to manscaped.com and using the promo code steveo for 20% off your order and free shipping. That's right, 20% off your order and free shipping. You go to manscaped.com, use the promo code steveo. See if you can look as good as I do. Yeah. Now go get that answer from Drew.
Don't you have to be careful about breathing in 100% O2 all day?
Yes.
Like pneumonia?
Yes.
Like that's what happened.
It literally damages your lung. The O2 becomes a free radical and damages the lungs.
Right. You need some carbon dioxide, correct?
You're asking complicated questions in reality. So,
Drew, this is a complicated podcast.
My first thought is, Steve, you have access to too many resources. This is options that other people don't think about. But good for you. Number one. Number two, the whole idea of CO2 accumulation is totally bogus. The only way you accumulate CO2 is when your lungs don't work right, and that is a certain subset of advanced emphysema that get hypercapnia. Other people do not. Now, if you're doing a triathlon, okay, yes, you could accumulate some CO2, and it could make an issue. I don't care how hard you're working out, you're not going to get hypercapnia.
Okay. How about if I get a tank full of just regular air?
That's called the environment.
You just want to be like Bane from Batman.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Just to look cool?
No, so that I can breathe better with the mask on. I want the mask to actually supply me regular air. Yeah.
I'm betting you could find a mask that you will like.
I bought so many of them.
Different masks.
I've tried so many, and I keep ordering more, and I keep ordering more. But don't worry, I'm going to keep ordering them. And when I find the one that actually works perfect, I'm going to buy a bunch and sell them.
Good, man. I like that.
So let me just tell you, the bandana, single layer cloth, probably not very good. The virus doesn't just float into the air and get through. The virus travels on droplets from our speaking and singing and coughing, and it's the droplets that do not get through the mask that prevent us from getting exposed to the virus.
I had a bandana tied around my face just yesterday, and my fiance Luck said, "Oh, that's not effective. That's not very helpful." She says,
right.
And she said, "Come over here and with the bandana, breathe on me." And I went over and I tried to blow on her, and she said, "Oh, I didn't feel anything. Maybe it is good."
Did you have it double?
It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing, but it's not as effective as a double ply mask.
Is it controversial among doctors and like scientists of why there's been the virus has increased over the last couple weeks? Like, why is it?
There isn't, because I mean, everybody knows what it is. We've all been moving about. We've sort of opened things up and moving about, and we started congregating in the streets by the tens of thousands without masks, or where they're yelling and screaming in the streets. And of course, I mean, if that didn't cause transmission, then we never should have locked down in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You're talking about the protests?
Of course, you congregate in close environments, even out of doors, it's going to cause some transmission. And then you continue to transmit by going to bars and going out to places. Of course, that's going to transmit some more. Now, the question now we have to face now is, how much do we risk letting the genie out of the bottle, and how much can we tolerate in terms of our sort of daily disease burden? But again, if we wore masks, again, the CDC director today just told us it would really dramatically be under control, dramatically. And in the states where things are really accelerating, it's where they were refusing to wear masks. And I don't know if you guys been to bars since they opened the bars up. They're all closed again now.
We don't go to bars anyway.
We went to some bars back when it was open, and I was uncomfortable.
Super
how close people were, and how people will come up to you and they're loud and talking. They've been drinking. Literally, Susan grabbed me at one point and pulled me away from somebody. It's like, there's an epidemic going on. What are you doing? And so bars and there's music, and so people are talking loud, which again is more droplets coming out. And so I definitely think there's no doubt about why this was happening. And here we are. So
is it more because I read a Times magazine article that said it had nothing to do with the protest. It was about restaurants opening up. But I'm like,
if it had nothing to do with the protest, then why are we locking down? That doesn't make any logical sense at all. Of course, it had something. There had to have been transmission. Had to have been. The Trump rally had transmission. The demonstrations have transmission. Just the way it is. That's okay. It may be worth the risk. That's fine. If we say it's worth the risk, no problem. But let's not delude ourselves that it's impossible. That nothing to do with people standing side by the thousands, tens of thousands. Of course, that has to create transmission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the air on airplanes clean? And do you think flying is safe?
It's recirculated about every 7 to 8 minutes. And again, the masks should do the trick. I had heard that the incidence of COVID in flight attendants and pilots is exceedingly low, maybe even zero. I don't have confirmation of that, but very low, which is pretty reassuring about plane flight.
Are you still thinking about running for governor in LA?
I am not. Another group came around and tried to get me to run for mayor. And for about 10 minutes, I thought, oh, my God, that may be the only way that I can actually get something done with the homeless problem, which is going to spiral out of control going forward here. I mean, it's just insane what's happening and what's going to happen. And I know exactly how to fix it. It's not a simple problem. I mean, it's not that complex a problem. It's the population I've been serving for decades. I know how to treat this group and what we should do with them. And I said the first thing we should do is stop calling it homelessness, because you call it homelessness, it suggests that if you give them a home, you've solved the problem. No, this is not homelessness. This is open air asylum. This is drug addiction. This is much more serious stuff. A friend of mine is involved in the Project Room Key, which is where they give hotel rooms to homeless folk. And he was going, oh, you could be one paycheck away from being homeless too. And I thought, oh, really? Okay. Well, what else besides the room? What else are they doing for all the people in the hotel? Well, they get lots of services. I go, really? Lots of services? Huh. Oh, yeah. A psychiatric nurse comes every day. A psychiatrist comes 2 times a week. A social worker comes by 3 times a week. Oh, really? So if I lost my job, that would suddenly require me to see a psychiatrist every day and a psychiatric nurse? That's what I would need just because I lost my job? No. What they're running is a residential psychiatric facility, which is what's needed, which is exactly what they should be doing. But let's not mince words on the rhetoric around this. Let's just build these facilities or arrange these facilities and get people into them. The problem is you can't get people into them, or they reject the services once they get in, and then you can't do a damn thing. So after about a few minutes of thinking all that through, I thought, am I insane? I don't want to be mayor. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
But I still am very, very worried about this problem.
Is it rude of me to not want to know what hotel they're staying in because I would be worried about catching like coronavirus or something like that from?
Yes, it would be rude of you, number one. And,
Sorry, I had to ask.
and number two, homeless have very low incidence of corona. Very low incidence, which is kind of interesting.
Why?
We thought before because it was outside, right? And there was very low outdoor transmission. The vast majority of transmission is indoor, which is why when people talk about isolating in place and all this stuff, I think you're going to put people back inside with the virus. There's no science to substantiate that. I know it makes common sense, but if you're also telling me that 50,000 people in the street doesn't cause transmission, how can you then lock people in rooms where we know it happens? In China, they did this big study and they found that only one outdoor transmission could they find, and it's a relatively 1-to-1 type transmission, while if it's indoors, it's 1-to-3. So you're better off outdoors. You are better off outdoors. It happens, but it's less likely to happen outdoors.
Do you think you need to wear a mask if you're like going for a jog or walking your dog?
I do. I do it mostly as a gesture, right? As a nod to be polite to other people. And if you're running, again, walking the dog is different. If you're away from other people, then take your mask off. But if you are within 20 feet or something, and you might get within 6 feet, then maybe. When running, you're exerting yourself as you go by, and you could leave a trail of stuff, maybe 25 or 50 feet behind you. So put the mask on. Why? It's to me, it's a nod. It's an acknowledgement that I'm protecting the other people.
All right, we're done with coronavirus.
Yeah.
And except to say that we all thought it was absolutely commendable. Just we admire you so much for your acknowledgement that you initially got some certain stuff about the coronavirus wrong. We were just saying, like, if only the world was full of people who were able to admit that they got something wrong. So
I thank you for saying that. And I did not get the infectivity and the ferociousness in the at-risk group. Those are the two things I did not get. But it's interesting now. I was doing a lot of comparison with H1N1, which I had back in 2009, and it was horrible and nearly killed me.
And that was a flu.
Think it is
that right? That was a flu?
Swine flu. And that one killed 575,000 people and infected between half a billion and 1 billion people. And I think it is instructive to look back at that pandemic now, just to look at how we felt about it then versus how we feel about this one now. It kind of calms you down a little bit, because nearly 600,000 people died, and you don't even know what happened. You're not even aware of it.
Yeah.
It was a story on the news every night, but it was not the craziness we're experiencing with this thing. And so I think we underreacted to that one. I think we're overreacting to this one. And sort of a sane middle ground is probably where we all ought to keep ourselves emotionally. All
right. So now we switch gears. Are you familiar, Drew, with chloroprocaine spinal? I
have a feeling I'm getting dragged into it.
Sounds like he's familiar.
Okay.
Well, so procaine is sort of a relative of xylocaine, and it's a spinal anesthetic, right? So you're gonna be paralyzed from your waist down.
Right.
Exactly.
That is correct.
This is an injection that goes into your spinal canal. And it is a local anesthetic, which would paralyze my legs completely for roughly 45 minutes.
And not just paralyzed, you also won't feel anything in your legs.
Ooh.
So we can do stuff to your legs.
Right, that sounds fun. Okay, so as you might recall, and here I am giving away creative, the people who hang in for this podcast to the very end, they really get the goods. And you'll remember I had the idea that I wanted to ride a bicycle while having general anesthesia drugs administered, such that I would go completely unconscious and crash the bike, and it would be hilarious. Well, we tried.
I remember.
Right, we tried it, and the thing was that
Etomidate.
Etomidate was the drug we used. What's the one that they said don't use propofol because it's a substance of abuse, but etomidate is not characterized as pleasant by any standard, and that nobody would ever use it for fun. So we used Atomidate. I felt very comfortable going through with using Atomidate. But my experience was I found it very pleasant. I really liked it, and it was upsetting for me. I was like, oh no, I can't do that anymore. So then, we failed to knock me out with Atomidate. So I've got this whole bit, which I picture as an episode of a bucket list series, and it has no ending. So I met somebody who is a medical professional. They will remain anonymous. They will be in disguise.
Are they in this country?
We're not even going to tell you that.
I'm not even going to tell you that. We might be.
Are they going to do it in this country? Whatever this thing is.
Not even going to tell you that. Okay. But suffice to say, they are absolutely a medical professional, and they said that they'll administer the shot into my spinal canal. And they'll have an IV. You'll be impressed by this. They said, we'll want to have an IV in case I need to give you meds to raise your blood pressure, because the chloroprocaine might lower my blood pressure. So they're going to monitor that. So they're very professional. They say it's totally safe.
He forgot to tell us that yesterday.
So is this an anesthesiologist? Because that would be... The reason I'm asking is...
It is.
I want somebody not just with experience with the procaine and the blood pressure issue, but also with airways. And anesthesiologists are very good at managing airways.
Right. Yeah.
So there's the potential for airway stuff?
Even though it's only my lower half?
Yeah, but sometimes it starts to drift up. You want it low, but sometimes it will kind of get up, and if it gets into your diaphragm, we got a problem.
Okay, so what people don't understand that are listening or watching is that, like, I have to set this up, right? I have to, like, figure out the ambulance. And I didn't hear that yesterday, and I was like, well, let's talk to Dr. Drew about that. My concern is that, like, if something were to happen, we're all fucked, right? Like, Steve's dead.
No.
And like, I go worst case scenario. Am I right to do that? Or is it not that bad?
You're right to worry about it. I mean, you want to keep him safe, but
I think he's talking about legal exposure
for
him.
Liability. I mean, that's a legal question that I hate to even think about.
I mean, it's going to be fine. But like,
that's what he says. Oh, don't worry about it. They'll be fine.
It's going to be fine.
Is this person an anesthesiologist?
Yes.
Okay. So you can have a certain degree of, I mean, that's the person who's really responsible for this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's a million ways to go past. What are you going to do while you're under spinal?
I'm going to have one of these neck braces so I can't break my neck when I fall. Right, like the one that the race car drivers use. I'm going to have a race car helmet with the camera pointed back so you can see my face. I'd like to have a straight jacket on so I can't have my arms help out in any situation, and probably walking on stilts.
I think your arms would help not break your spine if you like.
No. I'll have my straight jacket on. I'll be walking on stilts, and then they can shoot it into my back, and I'll see how far I can walk. Like Gotta be cool if we had two of us and we could race to see who can walk farthest on stilts, but it'll be just me.
When you collapse, you won't collapse in a sort of normal way. You'll flop, and you can dislocate your hip and break your leg. All kinds of things can break.
I'm just worried about his neck.
What if they're only drywall stilts, which put my feet just 4 feet off the ground?
It also. I know better than to walk you out of it. It just scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, I think my concern is that his airway, he'll go unconscious and he'll be unresponsive, or if he falls, I don't want him to be paralyzed by breaking his neck or hitting his head and like having this whatever.
And I don't understand how this guy's going to keep all the spinal stuff. I mean, it's a tube they stick in there and then they administer. I don't quite understand how that's all going to work.
It's not just an injection.
I guess he's going to pull all the equipment out and then put you up on the stilts, but you're going to be paralyzed already.
Yeah, how long does it take to kick in?
I don't think it's long.
Yeah, I think it's about a minute.
Maybe it's minutes. Yeah,
I think it's about 1
minute. Think about how xylocaine works if you're trying to numb your teeth up or something.
Right. So. Okay. So I'm on some seated thing, which allows me to just pop up like standing up out of a chair, and it's we all rig it up. So then once the tube's in, and I assume he's gonna have a plunger, kind of a syringe type deal. So when he plunge, and I stand up right away and start walking to see how far I can go in 1 minute.
Okay, that sort of makes a little more sense than that's with stilts. What if you were just like doing a bike and you watch your legs kind of fly off, as they became paralyzed?
Tricycle or a unicycle.
But it's less funny because you can still just kind of coast without using your legs on a bike. I think running.
No,
then
but
you
what
get
if
that.
you're? I mean, if you're just on a stationary bike, I'm just trying to think of ways to not fall.
Yeah. Should I have an ambulance there with like O2 and breathing stuff, or this guy?
This guy should have a whole cart. He should have an anesthesia cart handy. It seems
Okay, what I'm hearing Dr. Drew say is that we've got a real ender, that we've got a grand finale.
If anything, like I'll have to say it for Steve is he's one of the most positive guys I've ever met, and like I'm one of the most negative because I'm always going to worst case scenario. And he's like, so what I hear is we're a go for next Tuesday. And this guy is a great guy.
That is just Steve doing whatever the fuck he wants to do. Like I said, I've learned long ago not to talk him out of things.
What about an epidural that pregnant women do? Like, what's that difference? Because doesn't that just like an epidural? Doesn't that numb you?
Yeah, same kind of thing.
But it's not going to travel up their spine and.
Again, you have to have anesthesiologists, all these different kinds of spinal anesthesias. They're different for different things. He's going for a total paralysis, which is different than what they're going for during childbirth, obviously.
How did you vet this guy? He just said, "Hi, I'm an anesthesiologist," and you're like, "Sold."
I met him during a meet and greet after one of my shows.
Okay, he's legit.
Yep.
Okay.
And Steve said, "Oh, dude, you're an anesthesiologist. I want to do something rad. What can we do?" This guy brainstormed with you, didn't he?
Well, he
It's his idea.
At my show, he witnessed the bit about the anesthesia bike ride, and he came up to me and he said, "Hey, I've got a potential way for you to get this concluded." Yeah.
I feel like Drew's the voice of reason.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Oh, I try.
Are you doing podcasts in person these days?
I am with Corolla, and then Susan started me doing a stream every day out of this room. And that has kind of kept me engaged through this whole quarantine thing. I generally am depressed. I don't like any of this. I feel like my life's been taken away from me. We like traveling. We were going to go do some stuff. What's that, Susan? Oh, it's just you promote the shows. So I do a show called The Dose of Dr. Drew every day at drdrew.com, also at Facebook and at drdrew.tv. Right? Did I get it all? Okay, she's standing back. And then we do a call-in show once a week called Ask Dr. Drew. It's same format here, but we actually take phone calls. And we started out essentially just trying to calm everybody down. So I just sort of go through what we can see today about the COVID and the coronavirus, just try to interpret the data. Because I know when I listen to the news, I can't tell what's going on. I get scared. I can't tell what the truth is. So I just try to sit down and look at the data and talk about it. And we have a lot of interesting people that interact with me who are also experts and give me good information and things. And so we just kind of share ideas here.
All right.
That's cool. I maybe have one last question for you. And Steve and I had a long conversation about it, and we even dragged his dad into it. And I think it'd be interesting to hear your take on it, because you probably get asked so many times for favors and to do things. And Steve could probably like assemble this better than I can, because he's a better speaker for some reason. But you go ahead and take it.
I went up to a guy one time. I needed a speaker for a meeting. And this guy I knew could speak for me, and I said, "Hey man, how you doing? What are you up to tonight?" And then he said, "Oh, I'm not doing anything." I said, "Oh, cool, because I got this meeting and I need a speaker." And he goes, "Yeah, what's with the small talk? Why don't you just get to the point? You clearly want a favor. Why don't you, it's kind of insulting. You wouldn't just say, 'Hey, I need a favor,' And I'll never forget that, and it changed the way I approach people when I want a favor. I always think of that. But then Scott said he was running a business, and he had a guy who was a mentor, and he needed some advice. And so he said to the mentor, "Hey man, I need some advice on this." And his experience was the guy said, "Oh, since you forgot about the niceties of interacting, I'll tell you, I'm doing okay. Just got out of heart surgery. Maybe ask how you're doing." So it's like there are these two different situations.
You can't win.
How do you prefer to be asked?
I don't like a long story leading up to the ask. You know what I mean? I don't want a tale of woe that's sort of setting the table for a question, for whatever.
When you know it's coming.
I'd rather just get to the ask. Now, I think niceties are just sort of generally a good idea. I think generally just make contact with people before you go, hey man, I need something from you. So I'm generally in favor of some niceties, but I don't like the long roll up.
I have a quick question.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go for it.
So Drew, I've been a fan of yours for a long time. I've been a fan of Steve's for a long time, and we've always heard Steve's dad, Ted Glover.
Oh yeah.
How did you meet Ted? Like, how do you know Ted?
Okay, before I answer that, my wife's back here doing jumping jacks. What do you want me to say?
Like After Dark.
Oh, I forgot to mention. I do a podcast called After Dark with Christina P. Dr. After Dark. And Adam and I do a podcast most days called the Adam and Dr. Drew Show. So check those out as well. Thank you, honey. And Ted, I believe my first
in person was when
I love this. Huh?
The first time you met Dad in person, I was checking into rehab.
No.
Oh no. Oh, that's
time,
right.
I believe the first time was in a limousine on the way to
Yeah, the Jackass #2 premiere.
Yes,
it was. I'm completely wrong. Okay, to go to the Jackass #2 red carpet premiere, I had my sister, my dad, my at the time 4-year-old niece, and Ron Jeremy and Dr. Drew.
In the limo?
Yeah.
In the limo.
Yeah, the world's most famous doctor and the world's most famous porn star, my 4-year-old niece, and my dad and my sister. And I got out of the limo.
Why? How?
Because they're my bros.
Better.
I got out of the limo, waltzed down to the red carpet, pulled my wiener out, and peed all over the red carpet with everybody snapping all the photos, the full red carpet deal, wiener out, fully peeing. My dad was furious.
Just say, in that situation, Ted and I were drawn to one another. Let's just say
that was when you connected.
We found solace. And I think I remember talking to him at length at the pool at the
after party,
at the Roosevelt, the Hollywood Roosevelt, right?
Uh-huh.
And that same pool where like Whitney Houston was last seen loaded before she died, right? It's that same area. Because I remember seeing that picture going, oh, I remember that. I was there with Steve and his dad. It's crazy. And I immediately, and your dad, of course, gave me a bunch of recommendations for reading.
Yep.
Right? He sent me some books. And so we communicated by email. And we had a little relationship going. And then I met him again with you.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay, so you guys bonded at the Jackass 2 premiere. So it's through Steve that you do know each other. It's not like separate from Steve you guys met.
Correct.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah. But I could see that.
that.
I mean, Ted is definitely the kind of guy I would go toward. I mean, just such an interesting dude. And not the guy Steve and Ted, you don't, I get them now that I know them both, but you would not pick them both out of a lineup as father and son.
Right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in, like, because when I was doing drugs and I never wanted anybody to see it, like, let alone, like, I would drink in front of my mom or my dad or something. But, like, when you're in the limo going to a party, it's jackassing. Are you just drinking beer? Are you sniffing coke in front of people? Or are you doing what?
I had been inhaling nitrous oxide that entire day to the exclusion of air.
In front of.
Now we get your oxygen mask. But people normally, for whatever reason, hide their shit from me, and so I was not aware of what was going on with him. I knew he was not straight.
Did you ever do that stuff in front of your dad, Steve?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean I would drink in front of my dad, but I wouldn't even smoke pot or anything.
So in the limo, you're just probably drinking and like just thinking about the next time you're going to do a fat whippet.
Pretty much,
okay.
Yeah.
He was very happy in that limo. He announced to all of us that this was a dream come true for him, and I was privileged to make his dream come true for him.
Do you have any footage of that?
I don't know that I've got any footage or photos from inside that limo, but I am truly touched that our friendship, Drew, has lasted for so long. I mean, I've known Drew for damn near 20 years.
Wow.
And he's just always been such a good friend to me. There was a period when he said, I can't be friends and someone's doctor. You can't be my patient if you're my friend. But I think over the years now we've finally effectively broken that rule, because when I went to get the AIDS test and we got a few other things, my EKG, we tested my heart, and so we've actually we're friends, and
we played with those boundaries a little bit. It was much more important when you were in your illness, because you can't deal with those kinds of things with dual relationships. You just cannot.
Right.
So
now it's yeah. I just really love you, Drew, and
thanks, Steve. You too.
It
No,
means
which is
a lot.
why if you need it, you said you wanted me to be the first recurring customer here. I was deeply honored, and anything for you guys, whatever it is.
Well, and likewise all the time. Anytime you ever want me on a podcast or anything else, you just holler.
Your doggy is so cute there, man.
Yeah, isn't she the best? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, right on, Drew. I think that's going to do it for us. I'm super grateful. And Susan, thank you for letting me have Drew.
She's happy as long as I promoted all those different shows.
Yeah.
And things. She's very happy.
Yeah, maybe you want to do it one more time just to make her really happy.
And apologies to Susan.
No, she just said this. She just said I should do it all again.
Yeah, apologies to Susan for trying to steal you on Sunday when that was your date day.
I know. Well, it's our 29th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Wow. All right. So bring us out with plugs for all of your podcasts, Drew.
Okay. So if you go to drdrew.com or sign up at drdrew.tv, you'll see all the different podcasts there. The ones we're really interested in you taking a look at are the Dr. Drew After Dark podcast with Christina P. over at your mom's house. And it's sort of a new incarnation of Loveline. Did you do that one?
I did.
Yeah. Now I just do it with Christina P. regularly rather than having special guests. And then this stream that we do out of here most days, we like people to show up and be a part of that, be on the chat and interact. And I feel like I am contributing with that one. So I felt very not useful during a lot of this quarantine, and that helped me feel more useful. So thank you. Be a part of that, please.
All right. Hey, cheers, Drew. Thank you. You're the best.
Hey, congratulations on this. This clearly has evolved. Your pod thing.
Yeah,
and I love
thank
where
you.
It's at. I dig it.
I appreciate that so much, man.
Yeah.
Right on, Drew. All right, we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Drew.
All right.
Thank you, Drew.
Bye, guys.
Fucking Dr. Drew, what a bro. Yeah, and here we are, as usual. It's time to thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the podcast, my street team. And I know that I want to say about 313 of you received the special link. I went crazy trying to figure out, on the app, I don't know. I got it to 313 of you. I fucking hope you guys loved that shit. And you really did help me in figuring out there was a lot of testing going on in that. And I arrived at many conclusions. And so I want to thank you for helping get that shit fucking ready to rock and roll. And we'll see you next week. Holy shit. I'm going to just go ahead and announce this. I'm just going to tell you this. Next week is by far the dopest podcast that we have done yet. By far. Yeah. Hey everybody, and welcome to a healthy wild ride with Steve-O. We've got the healthiest guy on earth, and I do believe that is measurably a fact. That Brian Johnson, by spending over $2 million on anti-aging protocols, has actually made himself the actual healthiest guy on earth. If you haven't seen this documentary on Netflix called Don't Die, I'll tell you, it's wild, it's weird, and it's awesome. And how fascinating that we've got this guy trying so hard to not die, sitting next to me, a guy who's been basically trying to die forever. And, I just wonder what the Vegas odds would be on who's going to live longer, me or Brian Johnson. Tough to say, but he's got all kinds of fascinating answers to questions that I was dying to ask him, and I think you're going to really, really enjoy this. We enjoyed the hell out of it. It was almost 2 hours? Crazy how much I enjoyed him. So let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, people of the universe, I bring to you the man who's trying to live forever. Yeah, dude, Brian Johnson.
Man, this is cool to be here. It's really cool to be hanging out with you.
Well, thank you so much, man. Sorry, we've got a special co-host today, the beautiful Coral. You guys have been introduced. We watched your documentary together, and I thought it would be important to have the perspective of somebody who's really young,
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much I want to...
Well, that's me.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, so we got that covered.
I love that. How old are you now?
Biologically or chronologically?
Chronologically.
47.
Still 47.
Yeah.
So wow, that's a very current documentary. And biologically, how old are you?
Depends on the body part. If it's my penis, it's age 18.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. If my diaphragm, age 18. My sleep scores, early 20s. My heart is 37. My left ear's 64. My brain is 41.
Wow.
Yeah, so just every part of my body has a different age. Like you think about this, if you look at a 2-year-old and an 80-year-old, you can see they're clearly different ages. And then if you get more narrow and you get in, you can basically tell the age of an organ by how it looks and how it functions.
Okay. I mean, I had heard that. I had heard that different organs age differently. I think that the first thing, when I think of what's it called, anti-aging.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I think of anti-aging, I think of my dad. He's 82 years old.
Yeah.
He is terrified of dementia, and I mean, like, really terrified. He like and he has early stages of it.
Yeah.
So I just think, man, like whatever could be done to reverse
Exactly.
that. Like, I'm all in for that. And I was looking at the plasma transfusion. Is it plasma transfusions?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So by you're effectively flushing the blood of a younger person through your body.
That's right.
And that's just rejuvenating. And because you do it with your own son, I would imagine that the DNA, the closely linked genetics, like, makes that more effective than if you had some random 18-year-old.
Yeah, it's actually, so it's blood typed. So it's just, he's A positive, I'm A positive on the blood type. As long as you're matching on blood type, you can do the transfusion. But like to your dad, my father's in his early 70s. So he called me one day and he was in a panic. He said, Brian, I just wrote this thing for work. I walked away, I got something to eat. I came back and it was a jumbled mess. And so he makes a living and using his mind. Like it's a really intense mental task to do his job. And so he said, I'm terrified. Like, I'm absolutely just like panicking because, like your dad, I mean, when your mind begins slipping, like, what could be more terrifying? You're losing your mind and you can't see it. That's pretty scary.
It's awful.
So that led to so I said in that conversation, I said, okay, Dad, we're doing this research right now on these plasma transfusions. If you want to give this a go, like, I'm down. Like, I'm happy to give you a liter of my plasma. It's experimental. We don't know if it's going to work, but like, I'll do anything to help you out.
Yeah, and your dad's also A positive?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, so your son, and what's your son's name? Talmadge. He gives you his plasma, and then you give your dad your plasma.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating, and people just love to hate on it, huh? Vampire,
they do, yeah. Yeah.
Man. So now, what else is your dad doing to combat dementia?
He has totally turned his life around. Like, it's night and day. People at work can't even believe what's happened to him. So that phone call kicked off a bunch of stuff. So I was doing my thing where I was trying to become, basically the world record holder in anti-aging. I was trying to create a new sport out of it and do something no one had ever done.
And you've accomplished that, yeah?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, basically we're number one in the world on this, yeah.
It is demonstrably, measurably a success, okay?
Yeah, we have third-party receipts for everything. Everything has a lab result. We publish the lab results.
Right.
And so, I basically said, okay, Dad, let's do this. And so I put him on my entire protocol. I said, this is what you eat. This is what you don't eat. You need to exercise every day. You need to go to bed at this time. I mean, not this time, like in this way. And he has just turned his life around. He's just crisp and spry, and he has no aches and pains in his body, which is insane. He's been obese for a lot of his life, but I'm really proud of him. Like, when you're early 70s, it's pretty hard to change your habits, but he does. Like, he's done it, and he's a different person.
So you said you have him on your own whole protocol. Mm-hmm. Is sauna and cold plunge, like, I've heard that's really good for dementia.
Yeah, I haven't seen the evidence specifically for it. Like, the thing that makes us unique is we use scientific evidence for everything. So take a given thing like cold plunge.
Yeah.
We'll say, look at all the scientific evidence ever published on whole cold plunge. What does it say? Like, and what can we form with a strong confidence? And so otherwise, before I got into this game, you could hear someone say, like, cold plunge, I feel so great, and it really helps me feel good. But there was no one measuring, like, what actually is happening in this given phenomena. So we take an approach where we just look at the evidence and say, what does the evidence say? And then can we measure it in ourselves? And so he doesn't do cold plunge. I don't think he does sauna either. Not to say that it couldn't be beneficial. Just the evidence around sauna is, this is kind of technical, is called observational, which just means that you look at a bunch of people who do sauna and you form conclusions basically about observing the data, versus interventional, where you control a study, where you say, these people have cognitive decline. We're now going to put them in the sauna, and we're going to say, what does the sauna do for their cognitive decline based upon like whatever markers they're looking at? And does it work or does it not work? And you can then create a rigorous study on how to do that. So I guess I just say that really long-winded answer to say that usually when we try to answer a question, we try to be incredibly precise and say, the science says blank.
Right.
And so that's what we know. And then here's what we don't know. Now you can make a decision. So if my dad wants to do cold plunge and sauna, fine. But at least we know baseline, what to start, and know what to measure. Is it working for him or not?
Man, I thought that there was pretty compelling science for sauna and cold plunge. All these people in Finland.
Yeah, exactly. So that's observational data.
Right.
So it's not to say that it's not correct evidence or good evidence. It's just it's a weaker form of evidence than interventional data.
Right. Okay. What about stem cell? Is that part of the program? Have you done that?
Yeah, I did that. And so first is anybody who's thinking about stem cells, be really careful, because there's a lot of stem cells hold this bridge to like promise of it fixes anything, but it can also be very dangerous.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so you want to be very careful. A lot of people will go down to Mexico or the Bahamas.
I went to Colombia.
Oh, no. Okay. Tell me what happened.
I went to Colombia with a guy who's just got an insane amount of world records for skateboarding.
Yeah.
His name's Danny Way. He jumped over the Great Wall of China like on a skateboard. And famously, his body has just been a disaster.
Yeah.
More surgeries, no cartilage in his knees. And
Yeah.
he went there to set a world record for the most stem cells. And I went there because I have degenerative disc disease in my neck. And, it hasn't reached a point where I have pain or, limited range or anything like that. I went there largely preemptively. So it's difficult for me to really point to, how much better I feel, because I went there knowing that it's an issue and trying to stave off.
Yeah.
And so I'm just a bad case study for the efficacy of it.
Do you know what kind of stem cells they used?
They used stem cells from umbilical cords.
Okay. And you did it injected in the spine? Was it in the actual?
They did local, where they punch it into specific areas in my neck, and they flushed it through our whole what you call it, circular.
Yeah, just an IV drip.
Yeah.
Just okay, cool. And then, did you measure anything? Did you get an MRI or anything of your spine or of your neck prior to?
I did, and I don't know that there's been a follow up. This happened in 2021, so if there's been improvement, it would be the time to look.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so I was going to actually talk to you. I mean, after your very playful life and doing stunts, I would imagine that you've got like a lot of stuff going on.
I think that consensus is, chiropractors, doctors generally are shocked that I'm not in worse shape.
I arrived today expecting.
Yeah.
Okay.
A guy with a cane.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. You move around really well, and so
Right. And I really have become quite proactive about my health.
Oh, cool. What are you doing?
A lot of cycling, bicycle, a lot of hiking.
Yeah.
Those are my two main things. Beyond that, I cut out flour and sugar.
Good. That's great.
We got to talk about this.
Yeah.
I was doing so well.
Yeah.
I was doing so well with my diet. Like in anticipation of my 50th birthday, I really decided I'm going to get in the best shape I've ever been in my life. I think I accomplished that. No snacking, just 3 meals a day, and no flour, no sugar.
Yeah.
And then while I've adhered to the no flour, no sugar, I found these little loopholes.
Okay. Yeah. As one does.
Are
Yeah.
you familiar with Quest bars?
Yes, I am.
And bear bells?
Yes.
Oh my God, I love them. I love them.
Yeah.
And shout out to Bear Bells. They heard me raving about how when I'm like on the beam, when I'm really doing well, that's my treat.
Yeah.
As opposed to when I'm off the rails
Yeah.
and it's all Reese's and the rest. And they caught wind of that and sent me just cases of barbells. And if they want to do that again,
On the path to addiction. Yeah.
And so recently, I got on a protocol of just not more than one of these sort of healthy candy bars per day.
Yeah.
And I recently relapsed. Oh, speaking of which, today's my sobriety birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
I'm celebrating 17 years.
Damn, that's impressive.
Yeah, no drugs and booze.
Good for you.
Well, thank you. So that's a big thing.
That's a tough thing to kick.
I mean, right. It's a lot tougher to continue the way that I was.
How do you celebrate? How do you congratulate somebody on a 17 years? Is it happy birthday or is it, what is it? What's the language?
I think in I got sober in California. We call it a happy birthday.
You do call it happy birthday. Okay,
yeah. It's definitely a birthday where I come from. We even give cakes at
sugar-free and flour-free cakes.
Well, right. They actually encourage sugar for people who are newly sober. But in any case, back to the sugar-free candy bars. I've been eating like 3 of them a day now. It's awful. But how awful is it? That's my question.
Yeah. Okay.
The stuff the sugar. What's worse, the sugar or the stuff that?
Yeah. Okay. So to catch up on a few topics that we went through, one on the stem cells. So I would say 3 things to be mindful of stem cells for those of you who are listening. One is what I would do is you want to make sure the stem cells are produced according to like clinical grade stuff. So they call it GMP manufacturing. So it's just like a validation process to say these cells are legit. It's not like you're buying them off the corner.
Right.
So a GMP grade manufactured stem cell line. 2 is having stem cells measured before the injection. So just when you're on the table, when you're before you're going to be injected, you want to see the stem cells are alive, not dead. You want to make sure there's not junk in there that you don't want in there. So that quantification before injection is really important. And then 3 is measurement. So
the count of how
exactly.
many cells are.
Well, yeah. Also, but you want to if you're going after your neck because you've got a problem, you want to get a baseline with an MRI and say, here's the situation before, and then after 6 months or 12 months, do a second MRI to say, did it work? Because then if it works, you can be like, great, now I've got a GMP grade cell line. I can inspect the cells before they're injected, and then I can measure whether it works or not. And then you have confidence, you know what? This worked really well in my neck. Maybe I want to use it for my elbow or my knees or my wrists. So it's that process of measurement and follow-up, which is like the sauna as well, the finish. It is. You look at the observational data, it's great. So you can do another level of study. I'm going to do this study myself in sauna. I'm going to measure 50 biomarkers and say, here's my baseline. Here's what I'm going to do the sauna protocol and see what happens. So measurement is like a superpower in health because then you don't have to mess around doing stuff that don't work.
Right.
So that's, yeah. And then same as, so then with the diet. So we put out a diet recently, my team and I, called the Don't Die diet. And it's a plate and it has all the foods that are good to eat. And so the approach we had is we said, every calorie that enters my body has to fight for its life. If you just put it on a power ranking of the most powerful and best foods in the entire world and go from number 1 to 0 all the way down, what do you get? And so then, and then you go by that count. And then if your calorie intake is, let's say 2,500 a day, you fill up the 2,500 calories with the very best foods. And then the foods below it don't get any play. And so it's very easy. Sugar doesn't qualify. Flour doesn't qualify. Bars wouldn't qualify. But this is different levels of intensity. I mean, I'm trying to be number 1 in the world on this. And so, but we just basically said, according to the scientific evidence, what things have the very best power. And what you're trying to do is your body. So let's just say life expectancy for California is 79 years. And so you can take each day and divide that and say, how much do you die per day, right? It's an easy math calculation. And then you say, what can you do in your life to either slow down that speed of aging, you have to extend your life, or to speed it up. So you could smoke and drink and not sleep well. That's going to speed up your aging. Or you can have this really clean diet. That's going to slow down your speed of aging, sleeping well, exercising. So what we've tried to do is do the most quantified endeavor in human history of measuring to the molecular level what things slow down the speed of aging and what things increase aging. And then we just get extremely granular on everything we do.
Okay. Now, we're going to be getting into this a little bit later, but if we're going to slow down our aging, for the love of God, let's slow down the aging of our animals, like Moon Pie here and my cats. And speaking of my cats, they deserve good food, like real food, like Smalls. That's the name of this brand of food I feed my cats. Refrigerated, real, nutrient-dense, protein-packed, actual food. And I do believe that since my cats started eating Smalls, that they have a less stinky litter box, less hairballs, that their fur is just beautiful and shiny and silky, and they're happier. And you know what? If you've got your cats and you want them to be happier and healthier, then why not try Smalls, especially since you can get 50% off your first order and free shipping. To get this, you go to smalls.com and use the promo code STEVO for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. Do it for your cats, and let's get back to it. I want to get a little further into diet stuff, but that feels like a really good point to express all this criticism that you get. Like people, I think a big, big portion of the criticism that you receive is that you're so into the minutia and all the all of this crazy, like the word was tedious. Rogan used, like you're so invested in trying to live longer that you're somehow not actually living your life, and I just so disagree with that. I was speaking with Coral about this, and so she can weigh in on how she feels, but I said, like, number one, I view it as that you've gamified this. You've turned this into the highest level of competition.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're a competitive guy, and that you're thriving in this like super like ultra competitive thing. You're a world record. There's something that like just the pursuit of that high of a goal is to me, and then to be successful at it, like that's the definition of a life well lived in my view. So I absolutely don't agree with anybody saying that you're somehow not living your life. And then the next stage of it, the way that I view it, I said to Coral earlier, I said, there's 7 billion people. That's not counting the people who lived before us.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people out there. And so at the end of the day, what do you want to have been?
Yeah.
Do you want to have been one of 7 billion people who were alive at that time?
Yeah.
Or do you want to be someone that's exceptional? Do you want to
exactly.
strive to be absolutely exceptional? And so anybody, I just think that taking that view, it really eliminates the basis for so much of the criticism that you receive. That I just want to, on your behalf, just tell everybody, shut up, shut up and recognize that this is incredible.
Thanks. That's amazing. You know what? No one says that. Like, I thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm cool with the criticism. It's almost like when I started doing this, people were so confused, right? No one had ever done this before in the world. And so humans, they didn't know what category to put me in. Like, am I a bodybuilder? Am I a health person? Am I a doctor? Like what category can I say? And so because there wasn't a clean category, they'd be like Patrick Bateman, Dorian Gray, Prometheus, biohacker, fuckface, they're just blurting shit out. Like they just didn't know, like, what is this? And so I'd say, actually, I'm a rejuvenation athlete. Like LeBron James eats well, sleeps well. He plays in the court. He does some records. Like, we're like, good job, LeBron.
Yeah.
But then you see someone trying to do a new sport, like trying to, do anti-aging to a world record. It's like, fuckhead. So it's like I've been trying to introduce people like, this is a new category. I know you're not familiar with it. It's okay. Like, you're just getting familiarized with it. So it's all good. It's just it's a new thing that the world has not seen before.
Yeah. And I suppose that the show Silicon Valley kind of teed you up to...
We've leaned into that really hard. They did a fantastic job.
The show Silicon Valley.
They did the parody so good, and so we've leaned into that so hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. Okay, now Coral, let's hear it. And where's your mic?
Right here.
Okay, well let's use it.
How far do I need to keep it?
You go right into it. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, I had a few thoughts when I was watching the documentary. At first, I was like, this guy can't be happy. Like, mental health.
Yeah.
It can't be there. And then the further I've watched, I saw that you had mentioned how you were not in a good place before, and doing what you're doing changed your life. And right then, that's all I needed to hear. And that's like, do your thing. You're not hurting anybody. You're not, as long as you're happy, do your thing.
Yeah, cool.
And then like what he said, how there's 7 billion people, after he said that, it kind of changed my mind even more of, you are starting something that nobody else has done. So you can be a record breaker.
Yeah.
That could be a cool thing.
Yeah.
Why not? Go for it.
Yeah, you're not NPC.
Yeah, you're not NPC at all, which is cool. And it's working.
What was the other question?
Oh, okay. So, big question. Let's say you find out today
Yeah.
you're going to die in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What would you do? Would you do anything that's kind of out of your norm?
She says, would you bend the rules?
Yeah.
Would
have a
you?
cheat
Yeah. Would
day.
you kind of act out?
Yeah.
Get a little wild, maybe. What would you do?
I would try to slow down time so that the 2 weeks never arrive. So,
Oh, that's smart.
yeah, like
He would double down.
yeah. How do you make basically 2 weeks like 50 years? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. How do I
Right.
buy more time? Yeah.
That's the best answer.
Yeah, like you would you do anything? Do you have anything that you've been wanting to do that you know you shouldn't or can't because of your
Yeah.
blueprint?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have any vices that remain?
You know, honestly, I really I would say that I probably had an eating disorder, you know, like years ago, where when I was really stressed and I was depressed and like in a bad relationship and like, you know, all those things, that at night to soothe myself, I would eat. And so I was like 50 pounds or so heavier than I am right now.
Oh my God, I
Yeah,
saw
the
that in the
documentary
documentary.
had said that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good looking at a different guy.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it probably was like an eating disorder. Like I didn't want to overeat. That made me feel really bad when I did it, but I couldn't stop myself. Probably
Oh my God, do I relate to that?
probably classifies as like an eating disorder to some extent. And so like, I don't know, like I look back at that time in my life and man, it was so awful. I mean, I felt so terrible. I wanted to die.
Yeah, see, hearing that, it's like, you know, just do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
If this is something that nobody else will do, then still do it.
Yeah. And now I last night I slept really well. I exercised this morning. I had a great breakfast. I feel amazing. I'm so excited to be here. This is so fun and great. Like I just love life. I love being alive. And so yeah, I do take a lot of shit, but like, you know, I know what it feels like to be in a shitty place. And I think a lot of people are saying that because they feel shitty. Like they
I
have
think you're right on point with that, man. I wrote that down as a question to ask you. You know, for all the haters that just want to like hurt your feelings and you know
Yeah.
that behavior of really like trying to negatively impact somebody with your words
Yeah.
comes from a place of unhealth.
That's right.
Right? Like
That's right.
that kind of malicious negativity is it's got to be quantifiably.
Yeah.
I guess it's
Yeah.
observational.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I love it, Steve. You pick it up so fast. You nailed it. Yeah.
Like there's probably not a metric for what would you call it? Intervention.
Yeah, interventional data.
Interventional data. Yeah.
But I love it. You nailed it. So like the cool question would be, can you measure the biomarker that is responsible for meanness? Right. It's like people who are mean, like want to
Yeah.
lash out. They want to tear people down. Like they want a zinger.
Right.
Like what is the biomarker that's driving them to do that? And if they changed it, you know, how would that temper that disposition? That's cool. That's a great frame.
Yeah. It's tough, man. Like, it seems from your documentary that you like don't shy away from looking at comments and feedback, and
I love it.
you love it.
I do. I don't know why. Absolutely love it. I love the hate. I egg my haters on, you know, like your NPCs, like say something interesting. Like, so the thing about I've really taunted haters is I've said, when you hear about me, here are like the 5 things you're going to say. I know this because everyone says these things, right? So when you do this, don't be an NPC. Don't say these standard things. Like be original. Like if you're going to zing me, like nail me, right? Give me something good. So it's also like, if you're going to be a hater, be a good one, right? Like
Okay.
get your shit together.
I like that.
You know, I've taken a different approach on it, or I suppose perspective. I've evaluated criticism, and anytime that I think there's merit to it, that I agree with it, like I really try to address that.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, and I think that by acknowledging it, it creates some kind of a vicious cycle, or it perpetuates
Yeah,
it, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so like I reached a point where I said, you know what, like I've taken it into consideration.
Yeah.
I've made like genuine efforts to improve myself everywhere that you know, that I feel that I can and that I should. And beyond that, like I'm tapping out on
Yeah, yeah.
on looking at all the comments.
Yeah, yeah. It's true. You have to draw the line. I mean, so like, there are sometimes people offer legitimate, like one thing we're doing is we share everything publicly.
Right.
So all the good, the bad, the ugly. And we get some really good insights. Like people will say like, hey, think about this. We're like, fantastic, we missed it. So there's really some good insights. And then there's just that category of thing where it's just pure hate. It's not meant to be constructive. It's just like, I want to hurt you. Right.
Sure.
In like the most raw way possible. But I agree. But yeah, I don't know why I have such like a positive emotional relationship. My son and I, we just laugh. Like the shit people say, like when they make fun of me, it's so funny. You know, how I look, like how I am. It's funny. It's great.
All right.
That's huge. It really is all about perspective.
Yeah.
And how you can look at things. It's up to us.
Yeah,
At the end of the
I
day.
wonder.
Yeah.
Like, I need to evolve my relationship with negativity.
What?
Because,
Oh, really?
Because it's kind of grinded me. It's grinded me down.
Is that right?
Grinded my
You know,
gears.
like to a point, yeah, where I'm like
Tell me more about that.
you know, like I don't know, and here I go acknowledging hate, which I think is a bad move, but I don't care because I'm just speaking from the heart. I didn't used to have like a lot of it. It was really like you know, sporadic, like at best, and at a certain point, over the last, I would say, couple years, it became much more prevalent. You know, like that because I'm a sensitive guy. You know, I'm a sensitive guy, and the prevalence of negative comments really took a toll on me. And again, I you know, I saw some of it as valid, and a little bit of it. I saw people criticizing you for you know, promoting merch and you know, monetizing what you do. That was me. You know, as much as I built an audience, I really sought to monetize it.
Yeah.
You know, I sold a lot of merch. I actually did very well selling a lot of merch. And when I saw the tide of the comments turn to, oh, you know, Steve was always just, you know, always shilling, always trying to sell, like he's, you know, he just wants money. He's, you know, he stopped doing drugs. He's addicted to money. Like that. On some level, I agreed with that, you know, and I felt like, hey, you know what, my job here is to entertain. On one level, I agreed with it. On the other hand, I feel very strongly that at the end of this career, you know, like, do I want to have worked so hard? Do I want to have, like, you know, sacrificed so much and then have nothing to show for it?
Yeah.
Like, no, like I want to be smart and I want to set myself up to be comfortable later in life. I want to be financially stable. And so I have to find a balance between being a businessman and being an entertainer. I just do think that I went a little overboard and kind of abused my position as an entertainer, abused the attention of the audience. And as a result, I just stopped selling merch, man. My merchandising fell
Do you
off a
think
cliff.
that criticism was fair? But do you...
I mean, I don't know. Do I think it was fair?
Like, what's the harm in you making merchandise?
Right. If people don't want to buy something, don't buy it.
Yeah. What's so do you think...
I just think that I really care about being entertaining.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, that when I put something together, I really want it to be impactful. I want it to be and when there's solicitation and integrated into it, I think that does kind of undermine the goal.
I wonder, however, if that actually is not the correct signal. Those who are complaining, it's just like the kind of people who are always going to try to like.
It's true because you know what, nothing changed except for I just killed my merchandising.
Exactly.
operation.
Yeah.
I really let the haters win.
Bring it back.
Yeah, you know what? I just built a warehouse on my property in Tennessee for the express purpose of reviving my entrepreneurial spirit.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, so like I did this thing myself. It was a scientific pursuit. It was like, can I be the first kind of new human around this don't die philosophy? And then it went viral, and like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people were like, I love this. I want to do it too. And I was like, oh shit, okay. And so then I was like, I don't really want to make this into a product. Like the food business sucks. It's so much pain. It's awful. It's low margins. It's the worst business. I could do something to make like 100 times more money. I don't want to do it. So I was like, fine, I'll do it. So then I do it. So I'm trying to basically bring everybody the same quality I had. For example, like I was eating foods and we were testing everything I was eating. We discovered that the world is very toxic. Like most.
Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah, right. But worse than you realize. Like when you see the data, it's really.
I've got
really
some
bad.
questions about that too.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Yeah, so I started doing this for myself, and I was like, okay, this is a really bad situation. So we started sourcing foods, testing them, and I was eating everything. So we would source like everything, every calorie. The food I had was ultra pure. The water I had, the air I had, like everything we were doing, I was ingesting in my body on a daily basis. We built all these systems. So then I basically did this for everyone else. Like here is the same thing for you at a low cost. So I did that, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing the world a solid. Like I'm helping you out to have the same access to the same stuff I'm doing. And then inevitably, right, it's like, oh, you're a grifter,
Right.
you're shilling shit, I don't trust you anymore. And it's like, what? Like, you're going to call me, if I don't do this, you're going to call me an asshole.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly. And it's just like, no way. I'm like, on the one side, I'm like this rich biohacker billionaire that wants to live forever all by myself, and I'm an asshole for doing that. Then I try to make it available to other people, and they're like, you're just a fucker now because now you're trying to shill and sell this shit. It's like, what do you want?
I mean, for a guy who bought Venmo, right? You acquired Venmo,
Yeah,
is
I
that
did.
right?
Exactly.
I gotta believe that you're pretty financially set up that affiliate Amazon links are not gonna really move the needle too much.
Honestly, like there are some days I'm just like, fuck it. Like I'm out. Like I don't, like, it is not worth my hassle to do this business. I don't need to do it. But then I hear from those who are like, who depend upon it for their, like, we have so many customers who they eat, sleep, and breathe this Blueprint brand. I understand because I do the same thing. Like I want my clean food. I don't want to go eat dirty food. And so then I meet them. I'm like, okay, like I will block out the haters, but it is a thankless job. Like you really have to like stay solid on this because it's annoying when you're like trying to do a world of solid, and they just give you something in return. But anyways, I'm okay now. I've reconciled with the situation. But that's why I'm saying like with you, Steve, I'd like do it. Like sell your merch, like, and like troll the merch, right? Like like just own it. Be you. Like you're a fantastic human. You've done cool stuff. So
Well, thank you, man. And I'm never really going to be too interested in trolling, but there are things that I just think are super funny, and I just like what I arrived at is that I really need to let enthusiasm be my guide.
exactly, yeah, that's right.
And I think that I genuinely did lose my way a little bit because I just ended up with so many people working for me, so many like people that I was like, I'm the livelihood for all these different people, and I've got my dad who's this corporate, he had a big CEO career, and it was like, how much money am I making to make my dad proud,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it became more about that than about the joy in it.
Yeah.
And so just by going back to the joy and the enthusiasm,
Yeah,
that's a big deal. All right, now I was very interested on one. We'll tie it up with the food. It hurt my heart to hear you say that the saddest moment in your day is your last bite of food.
yeah, yeah,
I was like, ooh,
yeah,
because I'm like pretty active in my overeating.
yeah,
It's an addiction.
yeah. It is.
It's an addiction, and I hate it that it's got me in the grips.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm powerless.
Exactly.
And that that makes everything that you said about taking the power away from your mind really resonate.
Yeah.
It's just so tough to get back on the.
Yeah. I said that because people looked at my diet and they say, like, you surely must hate your food. Like they're imagining, like, I'm sure you want to eat pizza and donuts and like you want to go eat a burger and fries. And so like it was really that. And what I was trying to say is that because we have such a methodical diet and every calorie fights for its life, I appreciate food now more than I ever have in my entire life. I eat it and I just absolutely am overjoyed by food. Whereas before, I was just numb. Like you just eat. Like you go to a restaurant, like fine, whatever. And now when I have certain flavors and spices, like, oh my God, it's so crazy. So I was just saying like how alert I am and alive I am to taste and so yeah, that's really it. And so then I appreciate food so much, but also I have this nice balance now where I realize there's limits. Like I need to stop myself, and it's not good to keep on going.
Now I'm going to push back on that a little bit. Sure, it's not good to keep on going eating food all day, but what about when you're having sex, right? I'm telling you, it's a really good thing to keep on going in that department. And you want to perform at your best. So thank God for Blue Chew tablets. They got the same active ingredient as both Viagra and Cialis, and they only cost a fraction of the price. Plus, if you go to bluechew.com and use the promo code STEVO, you can get an entire month's supply of Blue Chew tablets completely for free. All you pay is $5 for shipping. And yeah, I don't know what Brian Johnson thinks about this, but I'll tell you what I think is that Blue Chew tablets help men have better sex. So I'm all about them. And if you think that they can help you, then one more time, you go to bluechew.com and use the promo code STEVO to get an entire month's supply completely for free. You only pay $5 for shipping. So with that, let's get back to it. Yeah, I have a thing that I find myself saying all too often is that during a meal, I'll say, I just switched over to recreational eating. Like I'm satiated, I'm full,
Exactly.
and now I'm just eating for just some perverse pleasure.
Exactly.
And I think that there's like a mental sickness involved where it's almost like when I go for that next low sugar candy bar, I'm not clear that what I actually want is like just something to beat myself up over it. Like if it's almost like I think I might be addicted to the shame. Like, oh, here I did.
Right.
Like sure I enjoy eating the candy bar, but it's like, oh, like this self-flagellation.
Yeah.
Like I'm a terrible person. Like I'm so weak, and it's almost like a perverse pleasure in
That's right.
in shame.
Yeah.
Man, it's
Isn't it? Yeah, isn't it? It's such a turbulent emotion, right? Like the whole experience of of wanting it, and like, do you eat it or not? And then you eat it, and it's like, one bite in, like you already feel all the shame.
Yeah.
You already feel all the regret, but then you want to finish it because you have this tension going on.
Yep.
It's so complicated psychologically.
It really is. So in any case, let me ask you about getting blood work done, because every person's so wildly different. Yeah. Like, you might, kale might be really good for you, but like actually I could be eating kale think hey, everybody says kale's a superfood, but it's actually not good for me individually. What can we do to identify the foods that are best for us?
Yeah. So I'd say that if you look at the population level science, like just look at big swaths of people, we have a lot more in common than we do different.
Okay.
So all of us do well with water, right? Almost all of us do well with exercise, minus a few conditions. All of us do well with vegetables. Like you could have your opinion about vegetables, but generally speaking, a lot of these rules really are good for everybody. And then you can jump into the individual differences. But I would say my experience has been the individual differences are really much less than most people think. And so what I've seen is like what happens psychologically to most people is when they want to be healthy, they try to get into the game. And the first thing they do is they like read some books or listen to some podcasts or whatever. And they'll feel overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, everybody says something different. How do I know which thing to do? Because everyone disagrees. And then they get on these tracks where like everything has to be so individualized. They're like, now they're running from all kinds of foods. They don't dare eat this or that. And so then they feel isolated. And then they're like, fuck it. I don't know what to do. I'm just going to eat everything. And so they give up. And so that's what we try to do is we try to basically say, it's okay. Like we're going to look at all the scientific evidence. We're not going to listen to anyone's opinion. We're going to say, just what does the scientific evidence say? We're going to do the evidence, and then we're going to measure and just do that again and again. And it's very safe, right? Because you just start with the stuff that works for a very large number of people, and then you measure your body and say, is it working for me or not? And so then you have a very clear plan. And so we've tried to basically eliminate this confusion that creates paralysis that people feel in a very steady, methodical, data measured way. And so with you, like we'd say, if I was working with you, we just set out this little plate with foods and say like, here are the foods you're going to eat. Have this protocol, like sleep this way, exercise, and do this, eat these meals. And then we'll do a baseline test. Like, how is your body doing? Do this for a month or two, do another test. How are you doing? And then we make adjustments here and there. But the adjustments for you would probably be pretty small. Like maybe there's something to do with your cholesterol, like maybe a statin. Maybe there's something to do with like maybe your triglycerides are high, you try to bring it down. Maybe your blood glucose is a little high, like bring it down a little bit, like small adjustments here and there. But I would say, generally speaking, you're probably going to find that you're like most people, generally speaking.
Okay. And the general rule of thumb is eat food, whole food in its original form as it, like just stay away from processed stuff and like anything that comes in like cellophane or any kind of a wrapper is probably generally you want to avoid.
So it's actually a bit more nuanced. So we measure all foods, and it's very hard to find clean foods. And so even people who are like, I'm just going to go to my farmer's market and buy blank, that's not even a safe source, right? Because the water they're using to irrigate the food, like they don't control the water source, and water is very dirty. And so there's a lot of variables they don't control in that process. And so I eat a lot of stuff out of packages with Blueprint because we can source the foods ourselves, we can manufacture it ourselves, we can test it, we have quality control. So we're just trying to basically get food into my body that has been tested, and we're kind of open to how it comes. Now, there's a few things, like for example, we never eat canned foods because it has BPA in the sealing of that property.
And what's BPA?
Oh, so it's like it's a chemical you don't want in your body. Yeah, so like for example, like women that had higher levels of BPA produced half the number of eggs than women who had lower levels of BPA. Like it just has very disruptive effects in the body.
Okay.
What are some other rules? Like here's an example. We are building a lentils product, and we are sourcing these lentils, and they came back very high in heavy metals. And we're like, that's weird. Why are there high levels of cadmium, mercury, arsenic, lead in heavy metals? And so we called the supplier. We're like, what's up? And they're like, oh, well, yeah, this is our batch that was fertilized with human sludge. And we're like, so human poop is what they're using for the fertilization. And we're like, okay, do you have another growth path that doesn't have human sludge? So what's happening is humans eat a lot of heavy metals. It cycles through. They use that sludge and then put it back in the food chain through the fertilization process. So it's just producing these recycled heavy metals in the process. Wow. So that's an example. Like even if that was an organic black lentil I bought at Whole Foods. Wow. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's just like there's no definitive clear path of how you buy clean foods. You have to like really get after it.
Okay. Now, I've told this story before. I wanted to tell it very quickly. I went to school in England, and during 8th grade, I went on a field trip to Egypt. They told us don't drink the water. The water is very contaminated. It's going to make you sick. But while we were there, I watched an Egyptian guy dunk his toothbrush in the Nile and brush his teeth, and I thought, wow, if tap water is bad, then what's the Nile? It's got to be crazy. But I thought this guy brushing his teeth in the Nile is challenging his immune system. He's just used to it at this point, so he's got to be stronger. And I arrived at the conclusion that the best thing I could do for my health would be to
brush your teeth out of the Nile?
Well, deliberately drink tap water all over the world, which I went on to do.
Yeah.
We filmed a show called Wildboyz. We filmed it on every continent except Antarctica, where I presume the water is pretty pure. I drank tap water and everywhere I went, all over, Asia, Africa, like South America. And I believe that my philosophy was right. I consider that the immune system is a muscle. Like any muscle, it needs to be challenged to become strong. So is there any argument? Like, are you just thinking, wow, what stupidity?
No, you ran an experiment. That's great. So the thing you could have done is just add some measurement, right? It's like measure your immune system as a baseline, and then do your experiment and then measure again. I think it's great. Like you're proposing a hypothesis.
Right.
Great. It's like measure it and we'll get results and we'll see if it's right or not.
Yeah, I didn't do any measuring except the only time I really got sick was like one night we drank some like pretty crazy old boxed wine.
Yeah.
And I think that was about it. Clearly more than 17 years ago.
I mean, like one theme that's been true in your life is you just consistently run experiments. Like you're posing the question, what if? Right. And like whatever you're doing, it's a what if. So I mean, your life has been an experiment.
So now I've spent so much time in an RV. I'm effectively living in this RV which we're in right now.
Yeah.
For this entire month, and I've been a little bit conflicted on how to approach my drinking water in here.
Yeah.
Because I hear such terrible things about any water that's in plastic. Apparently, and this company Liquid Death, their whole deal is death to plastic.
Yeah.
And the infinitely recyclable aluminum can is a lot better for the environment.
Yeah.
And there's so many health risks in plastic bottled water. Like you've got stuff coming into the plastic that's just and study after study confirms this. And I reached out to the CEO of Liquid Death, and I shared him this. The study concludes total proof that plastic water bottles are deadly, dangerous, risky. And I was like, man, I imagine people are sending you this like crazy, and that it's good for your business. And he said, oh, dude, like that pops up, time and time again, all the time. Nobody pays attention to it. Everybody knows it. Nobody acts any different. People just don't give a shit.
Yeah, so a friend of mine just did a pretty comprehensive look at plastics in foods in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So it's plasticlist.org. You can see the results. You can just type in the brand. If I'm not mistaken, I think he showed, because they were measuring for phthalates and bisphenols. So those are the chemicals you use to either make plastics soft or hard. And those are the things you're trying to avoid. And so they looked at 300 foods, like meats, and they also looked at water, and they looked at food delivery. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they showed there's very little difference between plastics in water and plastics in glass. I'm not sure if they looked at aluminum. But yeah, so that was just, I guess, and he's one of the more, I think this is one of the most rigorous studies ever done on plastics. So again, it always comes back to measurement that we've learned that over the years, most things the internet believes about health are incorrect. Conclusions that are formed by consensus on the internet are generally incorrect. And when you actually apply the science framework, it falls apart. I'm not quite sure why crowdsourcing doesn't get shit right. Generally, right? Does general consensus arrive at good ideas? And
especially in the information age, the digital age, the internet, you would think that fact checking would be really effective.
It's honestly really surprising. Maybe this is an overstatement. I want to say that honestly, when I hear an opinion on social media, I want to say the truth is probably the exact opposite, most likely.
Right, I don't doubt it. So now, living in an RV, there's a fresh water tank, and generally, nobody thinks you should drink water out of the faucet. It comes out of a garden hose. You fill it up with a garden hose. And then, this is a very new RV. So I imagine that the water tank isn't but the water tank is going to develop issues with bacteria in the water tank. Yeah. So, I just bought this, basically it's not Brita, it's another brand, but a 40 cup filtration thing. And I looked up, you attach to where the garden hose, the faucet, a filter which will filter the water before it gets into the hose. Yeah. Then, so you've got filtered water, and then once it comes out of here, then filter it again. How does that sound?
Yeah, so you can actually just put it to the test. There's a test you can do. I forget who I use. We test my water once a month at my house, but it's $199. And you get a full panel. So then you'll see the efficacy of your panel. So yeah, just get a test. Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's I agree with you. Getting water from the tank here, you need to make sure, because that I'm not quite sure what grade quality it is, but it seems like a lot of things can go wrong with that. Yeah. But yeah, if you're on the road, but you could definitely solve this. When you're at home, you can have a reverse osmosis water system and all that kind of stuff. But when you're on the road, you're subject to other people's systems. Right. So yeah, so I'll give you the test name offline. And let you run it and get the results. Okay. Man,
it's part of me thinks, dude, be that kid who said he's going to drink tap water all over the world.
Yeah. But the cool thing is that if you follow up on this conversation, if you perform the $200 test, then you can share with the world, hey, I have this RV, I have this water tank, and I have this system. Here's my results. Right. And by you sharing that, right, thousands of other people who are also living in RVs or traveling the world in RVs, they've just got a huge level up, right? You've given them one unlock on how they can measure. So these very small actions with the one test on one thing helps people understand things so clearly. That one guy at the plastics test, right? Glass bottle versus plastic bottle. So testing just has this underplayed role in society that if we test more stuff, we'd have so much more of a sane world.
How do you approach drinking water, when you're in a restaurant or just out and about on the road, in the hotel?
Yeah, so we try to buy water that good brands we trust, And yeah, because a lot of companies out there do test water. And there's some water companies that have good quality, some companies have bad quality. So we just try to find good brands.
Okay. All right. How did you approach the pandemic? And I guess let me first ask, when did you really dive into this anti-aging?
Yeah, it was during the pandemic.
During the
So
pandemic,
I was building my company, Kernel. We built the world's first mass market brain interface. So you put this little bike helmet on your head, and it measures your brain, which no one had ever built before. It's really, really good quality. And so I was building that company and doing my new don't die experimentation.
Okay. Did the whole response to the pandemic was just so political. It felt that people were anti-vax and this and that, and it just really felt like their just their politics were kind of making decisions. I got to presume that they, again, with the testing, but given how much attention you pay to health and air quality and this and that, like in retrospect, like, was everybody just wasting their time with the COVID masks, the mask mandate? Was that just stupid?
Yeah. That's funny.
You know what would be really stupid is if you were going to try to run an e-commerce business without the help of Shopify. I'm telling you, when it's time to sell, it's time for Shopify. And if you want to try Shopify because it's the gold standard in e-commerce and the easiest way to build a website, which serves as the gold standard of websites, then the good news is you can try it for only $1 per month. This $1 per month trial period is yours if you go to shopify.com/Stevo, making sure that's all in lowercase letters. Shopify.com/Stevo for your $1 a month trial period. And again, it's the way to take your e-commerce to the next level, whatever level it's at. And let's ride this baby home.
I have not seen the follow-up studies on mask efficacy. It was obviously a big debate, and I think people did conclude studies thereafter. I have not seen the evidence, so I don't know on that one. I will say that the big thing that happened is that was the kill shot for government trustworthiness, right? Yeah. They squandered it. They messed it up so badly, and they didn't just share data. They tried to use the data to persuade people what to do. Now, their role is to share data. It's not to try to persuade you how to understand it, but they were into this campaign mode where they were trying to get the world to behave in a certain way, which is just not the way you do science. And,
especially when it's at the cost of the entire economy, like people's livelihoods. That was it calls to mind asking AI, the car is driving and someone's got to die. Like, how do you, they do that. I heard about this. They'll ask AI, you got to swerve, one way or the other. You're going to kill a grandmother.
The trolley problem. Yeah.
And that is just exactly the same thing with the pandemic. It's like, what's worse, destroying people's livelihoods and the economy, or saving lives? There was just no good approach to it.
So I think what happened is because they lost their credibility, they just blew it. I think that whether it comes back is TBD in time, but right now all the credibility has shifted to people like myself. We currently we're working on a project right now called Don't Die Certified, where we're going to try to test 80% of the foods. 20% of the foods in the U.S. that make up 80% of the U.S. diet. So when you guys are driving around and you go to the store, you're like, what should I buy? Should I buy a Quest bar? Should I buy blank, 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 whatever you're eating? We want you to be able to go to the website, type in the name of the product, and say, what are the results for heavy metals, glyphosate, et cetera. And we want to put that on a new nutrition label where it says fats, calories, carbs, fats, et cetera, and here are the toxins. And so just it's there for you to see. And that's a government level initiative. The government should be doing that for us. We should have companies should be doing that for us.
How about the government should, isn't the majority of food that we buy in America straight illegal in Europe?
There's a lot of chemicals that Europe has banned that the U.S. allows, and that's very true. We're a much more liberal marketplace, and so like to me, I guess like the U.S. does have some legislation. There was a law passed in I think in the late 70s that said that chemicals are safe by default until proven guilty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was a bad one. And then they updated it recently in the past decade or so to say that actually you need to reverse that and say chemicals need to be tested prior to coming on market. But we've just had like, I forget what the number is. It's something like 400,000 chemicals have come on market in the past like 60 years, something like that. It's a big number. And very, very few have been tested, and which makes sense because testing these chemicals is really hard. You have to do rigorous science. The studies are very hard. It's very hard to isolate. You don't know what you're really looking for. So I understand why the tension. But yeah, we're going to basically just try to chip away at this problem to say that anything you buy, from your cup of coffee to a snack at the store, you can say what level. Because right now, I know from being in the food business, almost nobody tests. Almost nobody. Like they source, they go to market, and people just don't know what they're eating. So that's an example. I think where they blew COVID, I think what they did is they created this huge opening for people like myself to jump in and say like, all right, if you guys are not going to be like on record as being credible, I'm going to step in and do it. So we're going to try to basically do like a society level job to map the U.S. food ome. Like we sequenced the genome in early 2000, we're going to map the U.S. food ome and look for toxins and just see how we have like a state of play, like where are we at?
I've heard about different apps where, like, virtually any food packaging with a barcode, you open up the app, you scan the barcode, and it will give that food a grade.
Yeah.
Like, do you have a recommendation for the right app? They're like a good app to use for that?
Yeah, so they're looking at ingredients on labels. So they may say like high fructose corn syrup is a bad ingredient. Don't eat that. We're going to give it a low grade. But what they're not looking at is they're not testing the foods. So the invisible things which you can't see on the label are heavy metals, like agrochemicals,
Contaminants.
Exactly. That's what's invisible to everybody.
What's at stake with these invisible contaminants? I imagine cancer.
Exactly. It leads to all things awful. Yeah, I mean
all things awful.
Yeah. Like you just don't want to be like having a cup of mercury in the morning, right? Or a cup of lead, or a couple of.
But you know what? I can just imagine, like, kind of crawling into the head of the person listening right now, and just I can just see them thinking, "Oh, well, God, everything's gonna kill me. Arms up in the air, I give up."
Yeah. Okay, so person listening, help is on the way. Like I understand your feeling, and I have been through those same emotions. So first, it's just like an honest assessment. Like we're in a shitty spot. Okay, let's all like just reconcile. Also, we are going to help you with data. So let's just look at it. And so I think once we start testing, like we got test results back. We started testing a bunch of not just food. We tested last week. We got results back for a diaper, for tampons, and for dog food, and all came back with like,
oh my God, Moon Pie's outside.
He just likes that she gets to run around. And
so like we got to get Moon Pie food, right? That doesn't have toxins.
Right. Okay. Kibble is. I feed her this great refrigerated, like actual food.
Yeah.
Not like I put kibble on top of it too.
Let's test it. So let's give me the brand that she uses.
Okay.
Let's test it. Let's test a few other brands and let's see which ones are best.
Nice.
Okay.
That's exciting.
Very exciting. I keep seeing on my social media that a new drug which will extend the lives of dogs should hit the market next year.
Is that rapamycin or is that a different study?
I don't know.
Yeah. A friend of mine, I think, is building that company. I want to look it up. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I heard the news. I don't know what drug they're using.
So you measure your sleep with the Whoop band?
Yeah, I do. I also give me 1 second. There was recently an FDA approval for a drug that approved dog lifespans. Can you remind me what drug it was?
Is that Siri you're asking, or an actual person?
GPT.
Oh, ChatGPT.
Okay.
ChatGPT, man.
A recent development in veterinary medicine involves a drug called LOY-002. This medication aims to extend the healthy lifespan of senior dogs by targeting age-related metabolic issues. Loyal, the company behind LOI-002, is working towards full approval by late 2025. This could potentially offer a new way to improve the quality of life for aging dogs.
What was the evidence on the amount of time it increased lifespan for aging dogs?
Loyal 002 is an experimental drug developed by Loyal. LOI-002 is still in the clinical trial phase, so specific evidence on the exact amount of lifespan extension for aging dogs isn't fully available yet. However, the FDA has accepted Loyal's Reasonable Expectation of Effectiveness RXE application, which indicates promising initial results. Loyal is currently conducting the STAY clinical study with around 1,000 senior dogs to gather more comprehensive data on the drug's efficacy. The study is expected to run for 4 years, and more detailed findings should be available as the research progresses.
Cool.
All right. So promising.
Yeah, I mean,
If I could just keep my dog.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about Whoop. I love Whoop. I've been wearing
cool.
Whoop. I've been wearing Whoop for over 5 years.
Yeah. So I like the form factor. I like it that it's on the wrist. Aura is also great. Apple Watch is great. Garmin's great. Like if you're looking for a wearable, they all work. So just choose the one that works for you, price
Well,
point.
Whoop is the most sophisticated fitness tracking device known to man.
Okay.
Right? I mean, are you pushing back on that?
I think if you look at they're a great company. I
Okay,
guess.
let's look at the fact that you're wearing one.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
we've done the test.
Yeah. So I used to wear an Aura, and then it annoyed me because I don't like things on my fingers. Like when I
Okay.
type or when I work out.
Oh, is that a ring?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess I'm very careful to I don't ever speak about any product because I get paid. I only speak about things based upon evidence. Because I want my trust is my number one asset. And so I always want to speak in a very tempered fashion.
Okay, good.
So wearables, like if you look at a competitive chart, they all have their own metrics, like they're good at sleep or exercise or HRV or whatever. But generally speaking, they all do a pretty good job. So like you can get into the details and get much more granular in the analysis, like this one's better than that one in this regard. But yeah, so I'm just like offering a very general assessment. I do wear Whoop. I like the company a lot. I've worn them for 5 years. Others are also fine.
Okay, good. Can you explain HRV and why it's important?
Yeah, so that's your nervous system. So you
It's
can think.
heart rate variability.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
The
So
nervous system.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like when you're feeling fight or flight, when
Right.
like really ramped up, that's your sympathetic nervous system and like let's go. But you only want to be in that zone for a small amount of time. Then you want to dip back into your parasympathetic, which is more calm state. And so what your HRV is measuring is the ratio, like where you're at on the dial. Like, are you more sympathetic as a person? Like, are you more fight or flight, or are you more chill? And so a higher HRV just means you're basically doing a good job, like leveling your nervous system. And so, yeah, it's a good marker for how you're doing with stress, how you're doing with calming your nervous system. So it's a generally good marker. And as like most markers, you start with a very high HRV in life, and then it just goes down with age until it gets to zero.
You know, mine is so reflective of how I'm doing with my diet.
Exactly.
Like, if I'm really on point, like I'll be 150.
Yeah.
If I start slipping up, overeating, like it falls. Like my highest that I'll see right now is like 118.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So yeah, just on the verge of being 50, that is a fantastic HRV. Like that's at age 20.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I'm generally a pretty healthy guy. But you know that's on a green day. I'm saying that's the highest it'll go.
Yeah.
Lowest it'll go is about 70.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, see, but once you see all the data coming in, when you see how the body responds to like a bad meal or a bad week or to a bad night, right? It's really informative.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of people will get these wearables and they'll drink, then they'll see it just demolishes their sleep, and they'll be like, oh, what? You know, like,
Right.
and so like one night of data shows them, even though they've felt it 1,000 times before,
Right.
they just seeing the data changes their perspective. So like you can imagine when we see data on my body, we see thousands of data points. It really motivates you. Like what? So when people are like, oh, Brian, you got to be at craving a donut or a pizza. It's like, no, because I know if I do that, I know the wreckage is going to happen in my body. And like, I can't stand that thought. That's just like the worst. So changes your perspective.
Man. There she is. There's my little moon pie.
I'm so curious who picked her up.
Yeah.
Who is this? Who is this person?
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hilarious fucking saga. We went to the like a vet and they're like, "This is Steve-O's dog." I was like, "Really?"
How did the vet know it was my dog?
Because the microchip to a place in Kentucky was a whole fucking thing.
Wow.
We were just trying to be like, maybe this is chipped or something.
You guys are amazing.
And we just live right there, and she was right here.
Come here. Hey, thank you so much. Oh, I love you. I'm just a terrible dad, aren't I?
What a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Like she thinks she just went on a field trip. Like she doesn't know she was forgotten. She's
Yeah.
like, "Thanks, Dad. That was fun."
I mean, I generally, I'll let her out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't normally lock her out, but I let her out and she always comes back. So the only variable is if somebody takes her.
You know, I oftentimes wonder if like we humans got too much consciousness, and if we'd be better if we stopped at the conscious level of dogs. You know, like they're good.
Yeah.
You know, like life is just okay, and like, hey, buddy, how are you? Nice, thanks for welcoming me. Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, how sweet.
Now, I wonder, like, the dog's licking you. Are you thinking, like, bacteria in the dog's mouth, it's got to keep it off me?
I'm thinking this is going to be an experiment. What does dog bacteria do?
Perspective. I like it.
Right.
Oh,
Yes, yeah, she's a little bit pooped out. That's what I want. She got some exercise. Now, in the, in the documentary, you were describing it, being a divorced guy. You know, you finding potential partners on dating apps.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. And you've got like kind of a protocol for, like, you know, if you meet a potential partner,
Yeah.
you're gonna say, hey, like, I'm gonna need to flag this, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna just kind of get out in front of this. Like,
Yeah.
You need to know that I'm a nightmare. Like, I mean, of course, that's
I'm a sweet dream, but you're gonna think I'm a nightmare before you realize I'm a sweet dream.
right. Okay. How is the dating life going? Are you dating anyone now?
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay, you're not.
Yeah.
Now, like, potential partners, like, what kind of testing goes on?
Yeah.
Talk about testing. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. So it is. It's true that I really am. I really believe in this "don't die" movement. Like, I legitimately believe it's going to change the course of intelligent existence on this planet, and therefore I'm really into the work. And so when I meet people, I try to let them know immediately, like, whatever model you have in your mind about what a relationship is, you need to understand that I'm really after this objective, and that is my number one partner.
Right.
And so you're going to be in place number two. Now, sometimes women will say, great. Like, honestly, I hate when I'm in the number one spot. It's too much attention. It's too much requirements. Like, I want to do my thing too. Mm-hmm. So honestly, great. So just like that as a baseline, because most people start with the assumption that when you get together, you're each other's number ones.
Yeah.
And so you just break that one down. Then number two, like, you start going on the list. So you're just trying to basically you're trying to address what society says should be the default, and you're saying what will be the default. And then you save yourself a year of time of going through all that dating process. And oftentimes women will get to the end of it. Like, I've never had more women pursue me in my entire life than, and maybe it's just because it's fame or whatever the case may be, but women come at me now with this very specific thing. Like, I love this lifestyle. I love this purpose. I love this routine. It's like, it fits perfectly with me. So in many ways, it's just like it eliminates all the uncertainties. Like, what kind of guy am I? What am I going to do? And they are into the testing. So actually, one of the funny things, when I started doing the blood stuff, like, there's a big blood world out there.
Help me understand what that means.
I mean, like, people that are really into blood.
Blood work.
that can go many different ways.
Exactly. I mean, like,
you're talking about, like, what Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton, or MGK and
it can go many different ways.
Yeah. So exactly. So, like, people do wild sex blood things.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Are you aware of this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That was a knowing look.
Somebody I know very well is into that, and
Yeah.
they're very public about that.
Yes.
And it's, like period blood,
Exactly.
or a face mask, or
Exactly. And they'll like
making art with blood.
exactly all over the room and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
this is like, so a lot of people, they'll approach this conversation and they'll think I'm at some disadvantage, right? Okay, like maybe the guy's a little autistic, maybe he's like, whatever. they mark all these deficits, but what they don't realize is this really speaks hardcore to a lot of people with different life, like different
Right.
proclivities, different interests. So when I started doing the blood thing, like my DMs were just popping, like, and they're like, like this is my thing.
Because of the plasma transfusion.
Exactly. Like, so it tripped off this whole thing. So I guess like, it's just been fun. I've been introduced to these new worlds, which I didn't know existed. I wasn't aware of this going on. But so yeah, it's been fun. Like I'm really having a great time. I think this is like a really fun conversation to have. It pokes holes in all these social norms on what people think should or should not be available. But like, it's great.
Okay. Now, I'm going to take it your word. You're having a lot of fun dating.
I'm also, I will say, I'm also extremely careful.
I can imagine.
I mean, I've had experiences in life where people did not have the right interests, the right intentions, right? They had actually ulterior motives.
Well, I mean, that factored into the documentary
Yeah,
as
you
well.
did. You didn't mention that in the documentary as well.
So,
I mean, that, and it's just crazy how people can take the same piece of information and arrive at such wildly different conclusions.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I have to, it's like a really delicate balance. Like I'm sure you've experienced the same thing.
Sure.
It's just like, you kind of have to, everyone you meet, you kind of have to figure out like, what is it? Like, what is it that you're after and on what time scale? And because everyone's got like a certain want. And so,
Right.
or sometimes just genuine friendship, which is cool.
Right.
But like you definitely have to be mindful.
Right. Okay, now you've got your individual health protocol very dialed in. On a bigger scale, like kind of more of a collective societal health, like I think we can agree that we're in trouble, not just as a nation in America, but on a global scale. The debt is unsustainable. The environment's screwed. I mean, we live in a time of what's called mega threats, and I just wonder, like, with all of these, precautions, all these protocols, all these approaches to your individual health, how do you do you have the same kind of preemptive planning for like societal problems? Like, so like I guess what I'm asking is, do you have like a nuclear bunker? Like, do you have like passports for all kinds of different countries?
Like Jason Bourne style.
I mean, I'll never forget. I was, on a flight to England. I was sitting next to a guy who was on the United States sailing team. He was off to he was going to connect in London and go to Scandinavia somewhere and compete with sailboats. And he was reading this book. Right there on the cover, the title said, "This book could save your life." It's written by an author, Neil Strauss.
Neil's a friend.
Excellent. Wow. I love him because he wrote what I used to call the Bible, which is the Motley Crue book, The Dirt.
Exactly.
I refer to that as the Bible. So, in order to write this book, This Could Save Your Life, he really dove into the survivalist, and the guy, the sailing guy, broke down. He says, he got involved with these militias. He I think maybe became a pilot, got passports for all these countries to go to, and when the shit hits the fan, learned how to ride a motorcycle, because when everybody's trying to get out, like a motorcycle can split lanes, this whole thing. And I got to believe that whole survivalist thing just fits right into your program.
Yeah. So I've actually done very little on that. So my mind really, the thing I'm obsessed about more than anything is survival of the human race. That's like, that is what I am absolutely consumed by. And so it's
that's on an individual organism level.
Yeah. So it's not even like my health stuff is, me trying to be healthy. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm really doing it for the philosophy it represents. So what I'm basically saying is, the thing that every single human on the planet wants, like the thing we have in common, we have one thing in common. Nobody wants to die right now.
Okay.
That is literally the only thing in existence that humans agree upon.
I've always said that, not always, but that the human experience feels like a really cruel prank on us because we only have one instinct, which is to survive.
Yes.
But one guarantee, which is we won't.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, what are we doing here? You
So
know,
exactly.
like we're barreling towards this inevitable demise, which we fear more than anything. And, you know, like I kind of see, this would be antithetical to your whole perspective, but I see that, you know, given that you're right, we all want to survive. We all know that we won't.
Yeah.
So I see the human experience as an exercise in trying to reconcile our mortality, to wrap our head around it.
Which is like the history of humanity. And so what I'm saying above all is I'm saying that, so humans want one thing. We don't want to die right now. And then secondly is I'm saying that AI is progressing at a speed that makes it clear that death may no longer be inevitable, that we may be the first generation to not die. And so this is the first time
Can
in
you
human
help me
history.
understand ways in which AI can...
So think of it like this. So if we say, okay, so lifespan has nearly doubled, in the past century. And it's doubled from things like basic hygiene practices like washing hands. We discovered there are germs and these microscopic objects cause infections. So therefore washing your hands is a good idea. We discovered antibiotics, help control infections. That's really positive.
Vaccines.
Vaccines. Like we discovered that certain drugs and Medicaid, like you can like cancer treatments, right? Like we discovered all these things to extend life. That's been wonderful. And so just think about like the people who made those discoveries are just smart people. So think of AI as like billions or trillions more of smart people. And as AI gets smarter and smarter and smarter, now sometimes AI is working in conjunction with a human. Soon AIs will probably be working autonomously, like they'll work without a human. And so you're basically bringing on like orders of magnitude more intelligence, like basically call it 1 billion or 1 trillion new human geniuses to work on the world's hardest problems.
And then without requiring sleep or food.
And so when you do that, right, you're inevitably going to make some kind of progress towards figuring out how you slow down the speed of aging. So let's say this year we bring on 1 billion new genius level humans to work on aging. And let's say that cumulative effect is they help us slow down our speed of aging by 10%. Okay. So we age a little slower over the next year, and say next year they discover something that slows down our speed in another 10%. Right? And so we buy a little bit more time. And so you don't have to map that out very long. It's like 10 years passes or 15 years. And we're like, are we on the cusp of like dramatically extending our lives? Like we're going to live hundreds or even thousands of years. And so there's no reasonable person right now can take the position that we are somehow prohibited by the laws of physics from doing this. Biology has already solved immortality in several species. It's a different species than us.
What species?
So there's jellyfish that are immortal, right? So there's like the Greenland shark lives, a couple hundred years. Like there are biological species that live very long lives and some which are immortal. And so it's not like you're trying to break.
Is there anything other than jellyfish which are immortal?
Yeah, the hydra.
Turtles, I think, do really well.
Yeah,
Some
turtles.
Turtles
Yeah,
do well.
the hydra, I think, is immortal.
I don't know what a hydra is.
Yeah, there's several.
Okay.
So to conclude that thought, my entire essence of a being is basically I'm trying to communicate in 2025. This is the biggest moment in the history of the human race.
I believe that.
Yeah. And so
I believe that. And it could go very bad.
Exactly. So my goal is don't die don't eat toxins today for lunch. 2, don't die by nuking ourselves. Don't die by, letting viruses spin out of control. Don't die by having AI do something stupid and killing the human race. Like basically I'm trying to say, don't die across every vector of existence. Don't die. Like the only thing we do as a species right now is we say like we're on the cusp of something extraordinary. We have to lock in. It doesn't make sense anymore to spend our time trying to make money and wealth and power and status. A brand new game is here.
Unrelated question, but do you think AI, and I love the way that you describe it as 1 trillion new geniuses.
Yeah.
What are we going to do about the disparity of wealth?
Yeah.
I think that I think that is just so alarming.
Yeah. Well, I say the trends around that are very good. So if you look at how mobile phones raised people out of absolute poverty, now they've got a supercomputer in their hands. and they have access to financial resources where they don't have to go through banks anymore. Just their bank is on their phone. They can text and call anyone. And so now with AI, you've got a supercomputer, super intelligent agent in your hand. So in many ways, these advancements do more for the poor than anything that's ever been done. Like it does more than a government can do. It is more than a program. Now you have access to all the knowledge. And so really it levels the playing field. Everybody has access to the same level of intelligence. It's actually pretty crazy. So I'd say it's actually doing more to lessen inequality than ever before.
Okay. I just recently spoke with Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with him. And he was taking the position that during this Trump administration, we will see the world's first trillionaire, and that's going to be a net positive for the world at large, the nation, the economy. I can't see that.
Yeah.
You know, like to me, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer has been a dynamic. I mean, we haven't seen it to the scale it's at now since the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, you know, and I'm not sure if it's worse or better now, but it's certainly headed towards worse.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tricky one.
I mean, I don't know. Like while we're talking about, you know, the thriving, and I gotta say it's an unpopular opinion, but I love everything I hear Bernie Sanders say.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think I don't think you ultimately want a human or a small group of humans with disproportionate decision control in the world.
Right, and at this point, the top 3 richest people in America control more than 50% of the wealth.
Yeah.
That's incredibly scary.
Yeah. And it's I think you really want systems to be moderators of power, but you also, you know, like sometimes when systems get stuck in internal battles, they collapse upon themselves. And sometimes something new, like when the founding fathers created America, right? To get away from the British. It's a very complicated question. I understand there's an easy way to try to simplify this of rich is bad and equality is, you know, good, but society is a very complicated mess, and like we're all. I'm trying to map this.
I agree with where you're going.
I'm trying to basically say, like, when death is inevitable, it becomes a fight on who can acquire the most amount of power and wealth. And when you enter into a new phase of don't die, it's a different game as a species. And it's not one of wealth and power. It's a game entirely as a species looking, because one person can't do that.
I feel like I want to push back on that a little bit.
Okay,
I
please.
feel like when, you know, the human instinct for, you know, power, property, and prestige, I think, you know, when you take away the limitation which death represents, I just think that you have limitless hunger but now, because already, you know, this saying really resonated with me, that a man who has nothing only has to worry about his next meal.
Yeah.
The man who has everything worries about his last meal.
Yeah.
You know, and do I have enough do I have enough to retire? Do I have enough, when am I going to run out of money? It's that's why financial insecurity becomes a greater problem for those who have more wealth. The more wealth you have, the more financially insecure you feel. So now if you take that last meal and now you need to have enough resources to forever, you know, you're never going to die. Then you think that whole financial insecurity of thinking about your last meal. Now, you've got people that have a much longer timeline that they need to support themselves on, and a more hunger for power, property, and prestige.
Yeah. I can attest that's true with me. You know, I was poor for the first 34 years of my life, and then I made a couple $100 million from the sale of my company. And wealth is so complicated. It
creates a vacuum.
It
doesn't satisfy anything. The more wealth you have, the more it creates a vacuum. The more you have, the more you need.
Exactly, and
that's just human nature.
Exactly. And you can't really talk about this publicly because it's like a complaining about being wealthy, right? So it's a shit move. Also, just in all honesty, It is a major complication in life. Like, it just makes life so complicated.
I mean, I think that you could ask just about any person who's amassed any substantial wealth, were they happier before they became wealthy? I think almost universally people are going to say that they were happier when they had nothing. It's
a trade-off. It definitely has very serious trade-offs. It's not like you just make money and you're good. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I believe just at a cellular level, when I had absolutely nothing, and I did have absolutely nothing, that I was happier. And it's just it's distilled down to that one saying, like, the man who has nothing only has to worry about his next meal.
Yeah.
Life is so simple under those circumstances.
Yeah. And I would also say I resonate with that because, like, being healthy, the fact that now my life is based upon trying to have the best biomarkers in the world, that has brought me genuine happiness. Like, when my body is like in a really good spot, when I'm sleeping well and when I just feel great, when I'm not eating toxins, I legit feel happy. And so, I resonate with that.
The amount of sleep people need varies so much. Is it right that the older you get, the less sleep you need?
No, you need more.
You need more.
And it's harder to get sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing my whoop band has really helped me with, is that, like I believed that I needed to sleep. I take it very seriously. Like, I used to have a rule that I'd never want to go to sleep without having at least 8 hours before I gotta get up.
Yeah.
And like, it is a real problem. It is a problem for my next day if I'm gonna have less than 8 hours for sleep.
That's right.
But I come to realize with my whoop, it's actually more like 9. It's more like 9, and if I really want to be optimal, I need to be in bed for like 10 hours because I need 8 hours of actual sleep.
Yeah.
So time in bed is very different from actual sleep.
Exactly.
I need a minimum of 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Which means that I need to devote 9 hours at minimum to being in bed.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I agree with you. My average over the past year is 8 hours and 34 minutes of sleep. And so, it's my wake time at night is on average less than 30 minutes. So me too, I'm getting 8 hours a night. And so you're really trying to spend the least amount of time in bed as possible, which means like fewest times getting up, fewest amount of time waking up, being up. So yeah, I agree with you. But I feel my very best with 8.
Yeah, I have to have it.
The data shows the optimal number is around 7. So if you look at all the population scale data, and then if you then add in top of that extra sleep needed for a level of activity or stuff like that, you can get to 8. But there's actually, it's a kind of like a V-shaped curve where all-cause mortality is very high with low levels of sleep, and you get to the lowest number of all-cause mortality. Like, you increase lifespan expectancy of 7, then you start coming back up. So getting too much sleep, getting too much sleep is actually bad for you. So it's in a very narrow band of like 7 to 8.
So what are you doing sleeping 8.5 hours, man? That sounds very reckless.
Well, so once you account for my wake time, so I'm actually like right there in the optimal curve because I'm up on average just below 30. Yeah. So some people do have a gene though. They can sleep for 4 hours a night, but that's so rare though. So you can actually, if someone's like, oh, I sleep 5 hours a night and I'm fine, you can measure it. So you can actually look at blood biomarkers and see if they're telling the truth. If they're not, the body markers will tell you like they're inflamed and unhappy.
So you said if somebody gets too much sleep, it's bad for them. Is that bad for their physical health, mental health, or both?
I'm not sure. Actually, it's a great question. I don't know.
You don't know about the mental piece because that's harder to quantify, but physical health, absolutely, there's metrics for that.
Yeah, exactly. So I know the deficiencies of too little sleep. Like, I know which proteins will be bad, but your question's great. I've never actually heard it before. What are the markers that you're sleeping too much? Mm-hmm. Good question. I don't know.
Wow. I feel like we could talk for hours and hours and days, man.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
In your documentary, you were taking those antibiotics, correct?
Oh, the rapamycin?
Yeah, I think you had 13.
Yes, that's right.
In your hand. How do you feel? How does your body feel? And how did you feel when you first started taking them?
Yeah, so I just stopped taking rapamycin because of the side effects. Yeah, so rapamycin was probably considered to be the most exciting drug in anti-aging. It had shown great promise in mice models, and it was just now going to humans for studies. And but it also comes along with a bunch of side effects. Like, you have small tissue infections like cankers in your mouth. It reduces your NK cells, your immune system. NK cells are your cancer killing cells, so it suppresses them, and then it also causes disruptions in blood glucose and also lipids like your cholesterol. And so we were trading off those side effects for the potential benefits of his offering for longevity. But then after doing it for 5 years, and we were being very meticulous measuring all of my blood work doing this, we concluded the side effect profile was too high for the benefits we thought we were getting, so we stopped. And then a paper came out in October, a month after we stopped, and showed that using 16 biological aging clocks, that rapamycin was increasing the speed of aging. So on this marker, it wasn't just, it had some effect where it was increasing speed of aging. So it's kind of like the irony of like the world's best anti-aging drug on this marker was accelerating the speed of aging.
Is that a lawsuit?
Yeah, so basically went against of what your goal was.
Yeah, but it's like it's also, you have to keep in mind that's just one data point. So like when I shared, like we do, I shared this publicly. I'm like, hey, you guys, I've been doing this. Here's the new data. And then like the internet went wild. They're like, this is so funny. This is so good. The anti-aging guy accidentally took a anti-aging drug. It was like accidentally accelerating his aging. So people were so excited. But you have to realize this is part of the scientific process. Like you do things, you try things, some things work. And also it's just one data point. It may actually have worked in other ways we didn't measure.
That's why your ear is so damn old.
Yeah. So
Interesting. Okay.
how frequently are you uploading YouTube videos? I saw your plaque. Like, where's your subscriber count at this point?
I think we're at 1.5 million.
Nice. That's very fast growth.
Yeah, thanks. We've been at it for like a year and a half.
I guess the Netflix really, the documentary really spiked it.
The Netflix effect is real. It is so deep and broad. I'm amazed. Every walk of life. Like this morning, I'm here in Austin for a week. I went to the gym. And they're like, hey.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's like even people outside of world of health and wellness.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fascinating documentary, man.
It really is. Yeah. I think everybody should see it.
Thanks.
The history with the Mormon Church, it's pretty heartbreaking. You know, the way that effectively destroyed the family dynamic.
Yeah.
You know, you were a very strict Mormon. You left the church. I couldn't help but wonder, have you ever gone to see the play, The Book of Mormon?
I have. It's good. It's really good.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And was that like I've left the church, I'm gonna go see this play.
Yeah, I think the Mormon Church has really done a great job from a PR perspective. I think they realized that putting up a fuss would just make it worse. So I think that they kind of roll with it. They're like, yeah, I'll go see it and it's fun. So
wow.
Yeah, so I think kudos to them that was a really good PR play. It's like we know this. Like
Sure.
Always say yes and to critics. Never no but. Right? No but never works. Always yes and. So I think they've played their cards right.
That's incredible. So you were still in the church when you saw that play?
No, it was after. But I wanted to see, it was fun to see an outsider's take because when you're inside, you live within the lunacy of the system.
Right.
And it's only when an outsider can poke fun and you're like, oh, I was that. I did that. And so you see yourself in this new light. So it's almost like I was watching myself through like self-discovery of like who I was before and I was oblivious to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not like on any level trying to attack. I personally really enjoyed that play.
Yeah.
And the perspective of somebody who's left the church. Like I wanted to ask about that. Having left the Mormon Church, like how would you describe? And this is where I want to end on this. Like, what does faith mean to you as a guy who's left the church?
Yeah. So I think that to me, that's like, it's the coolest question in existence where like we find ourselves in this really weird situation. Like we are conscious, we're on Earth, floating in space. Like what's happening? Like
What is even
happening? And it's like such a good question. Then like we forget that that's the situation. And then we jump to all these conclusions and we get lost in all these games we're playing, like whether it's a content creator or whether it's like building a business, we're playing for status, power, prestige. But like if you zoom out and you see that we're in this larger galaxy, this is nuts. And so what I learned from that experience is when I came out of the womb, I was born into this really small community, this religious community, and they said, this is reality. We're going to tell you how to understand reality. And so Mormonism has a story for like what happened before this life, what happens in this life, what happens in the afterlife. They give you all the rules, like eat this, don't eat that, think this, don't think that. These people are your friends, these people are the enemies. You know, like they give you the whole playbook for reality. And then when you, like I finally came to understand, they had given me a playbook for reality, but maybe that wasn't reality. Like maybe it was like some constructed reality. And so I got to ask this question brand new. What is really going on? And I think that's really the question. And so my favorite quote is by a World War II reporter, Edward Murrow. And he said, those who are not confused by the situation don't understand what's really going on. So normally we think that understanding is intelligence. And he's saying that confusion is intelligence. That that intelligence never actually graduates past confusion. That we're like, it's just, this
Sure.
we can't understand what is happening.
Here's as a sober guy, the 12 steps.
Yeah.
That they refer to God as we understand God.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing a guy who, when I was really new, he said, I think alcoholics must be the most arrogant people on earth because they actually believe that they understand God. That's just a little bit of a play on it. God, my understanding of God. And, that I was like, yeah, that's 100% right. Like, we don't understand. Like, to claim to understand is arrogant.
Yeah. So I when I went through that whole process and I came back and I was like, how do I understand existence? I came up with a single answer. The only thing I know is that I don't want to die right now.
Okay.
And like literally outside of that observation, I can't say that I know anything. And that's especially true as we're walking into a new era being human with AI. And so my entire thesis on existence is that as a species, like as we're sitting on Earth in this part of the galaxy, giving birth to superintelligence, literally the only thing we know as a species, the only thing is we don't want to die right now. And it's like a very humble observation about reality that it's like, it's so precious that we're here. Did this flip off?
I think that one did.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
We still got you right here.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like the essence of my world is like, it's been dramatically simplified into a single concept.
Right. I mean, you definitely have a real knack for staying on topic.
Does it like get out of control otherwise?
I mean, and I love it. I love it. I think that's really the best or the most honest answer for a question about spirituality is that I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you could go to the dictionary definition of the word faith, and I think it would say belief in something that cannot be proven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think some people, if they were to think, I don't know what's happening and I don't know what's out there, that could be scary for them. And some other people, it could be exciting and, they want to find more avenues and explore more things. And, you can make your own assumptions, but I mean, you could also have like your higher power can be, I was just telling him, like a tree or anything you want it to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, man. Well, we both have things we got to do today.
Yeah.
This is considerably longer than I normally run a podcast, which is always evidence of it being an experience that I enjoyed.
I had fun hanging out with you.
Yeah, likewise, man.
Yeah, I've you probably hear this all the time. I've been watching you since I can remember being conscious. Like I've been watching you in the public eye. So it's been really cool to see you. You're such an unusual character.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah, and I just really respect that you've carved out a path that is different. And so, respect.
Hey, likewise, man. And there you have it, folks. My buddy, Brian Johnson. And happy to report that Moon Pie, she's perfectly safe and sound. Am I a bad dad for letting her roam around? Maybe, but her quality of life matters to me. I want her to have some freedom. And, thanks again to the people who kidnapped her. But yeah, in any case, Brian Johnson, loved him, and I love you for sticking around to the end. It's crazy. And what was really crazy? What I did, what was it now? 3 days ago? It's been 3 days. I did one of the biggest stunts, maybe the biggest stunt like 3 days ago. It was epic. Anyway, I love you. Thank you for sticking around, and it's time for bed. Yeah, dude.